What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. Happy Holy Days. That's what tonight's show is all about. We are going to be kind of really tuning in and preparing to fully experience Passover, Easter, and Earth Day. And I've invited some of my favorite people to be on the show tonight, sharing from their heart about what these different holy days mean to them. We're going to be learning about some very important events coming up this week for us to all participate in. And we want to hear from you. So please do light up the chat box with what these different holy days mean to you. I want to welcome all the people watching the recording, all the people watching on Facebook and YouTube. And remember, you can join us. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, right there, globalpeacetribe.com, and you'll see how you can register and join us. We'd love to have you come right into the Zoom room and participate with us because we've got some wonderful people. We've got, you know, that great song you just heard, right? Our theme song that we play every show. Well, guess what? These are the people that created it. This is Bob and Pookie Lee, and they're with us. You know, it's so funny. They're actually in St. Louis, but I always think Hawaii because Pookie Lee is so like Hawaii. So anyway, they're going to bring a combination of Midwest Hawaii vibe and a couple of the songs and a wonderful chat. So we're excited about that. Maureen Edwardson is with us, and she is a very wise woman with extraordinary magical powers. And so it's great to have her with us. And one of my dearest friends, a new friend, Clare Dubois, is with us. And Clare is one of the great lovers of Mother Earth Gaia. So I had to have her on our show that prepares us for Earth Day. And speaking of preparing for Earth Day, Mitchell Rabin is coming all the way from New York. He puts together the amazing Earth Day event every year. We're going to learn all about that and how you can participate. And there's another wonderful Earth Day event coming up, and that's put together by our friend Andrew Kaen, who's also with us. So welcome, beautiful presenters. And for beauty, for dance, Kaeshi Chai is here, also coming to us from New York. And she's going to take us into an experience, maybe a little bit waterfall, perhaps, it looks like. So these are our presenters for tonight. And as always, we are going to start the show with some rockin' and some rollin' with our beloved house musical artist, my co-pilot, Omashar.
Yes, that will be me. And namaste, everybody, and happy holy days. And of course, in the southern hemisphere, it's actually autumn. Here in the northern hemisphere, I think I've got the hemispheres right. We're in spring, and it is a time for renewal and reawakening and resurrection. And this song I've brought about because also with Kaeshi, I know that she is going to bring something aquatic to our dulcet ears and eyes, and so this is in that theme, and we shall start like this.
Together, holding hands, sisters and brothers, open hearts and open minds, raising our voices and singing these praises, Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, yana, hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, 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 yana, ho, yana, hey, yana, hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, We are here, loving our mother, and we are willing to love each other. Open hearts and open minds, we raise our voices and sing these praises, Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, yana, hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, 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 yana, ho, yana, hey, yana, hey, yana, ho, yana, hey. We are here, gathered together, holding hands, my sisters and brothers, open hearts and open minds, raising our voices and singing these praises. One more time, singing these praises. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, yana, hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, 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 yana, ho, yana, hey, yana, hey, yana, ho, yana, hey, hey. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit. Earth, my body, water, my blood, air, my breath, and fire, my spirit.
Let's give a big twinkle to our beloved Omashar.
Thank you.
You
Yeah.
always get us off to such an amazing start, my friend.
Thank you, brother.
And people are commenting that they appreciate the two people that you've brought to the awakening world tonight.
I know. Just before, when we were in the green room, which is actually blue, we were talking about osmosis was missing. So we need Moses in the background up here somewhere. So
Oh, thank you. We're going to have two more songs from Omashar tonight. So thank you, brother. You know, if you go to the Global Peace Tribe website on YouTube, and the very first playlist that comes up is called Dynamic Segments. And it's where I've edited, and with Connie's help, wonderful Connie, who's in the chat box or in the Zoom room with us, kind of segments that are especially powerful. And the very first one is a segment from Michael Beckwith, and I think the second one is Maureen Edwardson, and the next one is Clare Dubois. And I met Clare through our mutual friend Vineet Allen, on a previous Earth Day oriented show. And at the time, she was running Tree Sisters, which has planted an extraordinary number of trees. Just, I don't know the number, but it's absurdly, ridiculously amazing. And this woman for 12 years ran Tree Sisters and made a contribution to this planet that is just profound. Well, she, after 12 years, took a sabbatical from Tree Sisters. It has been really kind of healing and tuning in. And she is now a neighbor because she lives in Nevada City, which is right next door to Grass Valley, which is where I now live. And so I'm getting a chance to get to know her on a personal level. She's an extraordinary woman. She's very mystical. She's very tapped in on many, many levels. And as you're about to hear, she can speak so eloquently because she's so connected to her own higher self, God self. So it is my pleasure to bring back to the Global Peace Tribe, Clare Dubois.
Hello, Scott. Hello, everybody. How lovely to be here.
You truly are one of the great lovers of the earth. You know, a lot of people say they love Mother Earth, and it's true in their own way, but your love, your passion, and the action you've taken has been so profound. What's alive for you, given the state of our world at this time, what's going on with climate change, a certain presidential administration?
Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, you don't have to go there. You don't have to go there. But how are you doing with all that? As much as you love our planet, how are you doing with it all?
You know, bizarrely well. Truly bizarrely well. I'd never have thought I'd be doing this well. But it was 27 million trees, which sounds like a lot. You know, it sounds like a lot until you know that we are cutting down or losing between 14 and 40 million a day. So, like, I pretty much broke myself because it's extraordinary how hard it has been to help people understand that we are the earth. That we are the earth. People say, "Oh, I don't support the environment." And I'm like, "But you are the environment. Like you're made of the environment." But much as I absolutely passionately loved what I was doing and believed that it was my life's purpose, you know, I burnt myself out to a crisp. And, you know, my body took me out and I had to stop. And so I've had the privilege of being off work for a couple of years now and going very deep on the inside and connecting, like trying to pull myself out of the rat race and frankly, the insanity that activists get into with the extent of the destruction out there, which means there just must be more and more and more of us to pour out. But actually, there's some deeper wisdom about slowing down, seriously slowing down and coming back to ourselves, because we're not going to solve the problem, you know, from the level of consciousness that we've created it. So to me, it's about actually seeking the planetary shift. It's about deepening into where I am not living that, or where I'm not aligned, or how I'm not it in relationship to the world that I believe is possible. So for me, it's about frequency shift. And I think that's, you know, I mean, Earth Day matters a huge amount to me, but Easter feels so sacred in its invitation to death and rebirth. It feels so sacred in its the story that is there is extraordinary and heart-rendering and so deeply about forgiveness and resurrection. And there's something about that deep forgiveness for ourselves that allows for a resurrection. And I'm really with that energy. And I was thinking about, what did I want to talk about, seeing as you've given me this privilege. I'm going to go off piste, but I'll come back on. So I grew up with a very psychic mother, and in my adolescence, we would do seances all the time. It wasn't what video shall we watch, it was which ancestor shall we talk to. And so I just got used to being with spirit and learning, talking to my ancestors and discovering how they were doing and watching them evolve on the other side and getting advice from them. And then there was a point, probably around my late teens, where the ancestors stepped back and there were some really meaty guides came in. And it was a whole different experience talking to these beings. And one of them was called Erdar. And Erdar was the last guide that we used to talk to before James and I went off to university, and basically that it stopped being a norm. And Erdar was you could feel him. He filled the room, and he was a very strong guide of my mother's, but he would talk to James and I. So 3 years ago, probably about 6 weeks before my mother died, she was very, very ill, and she was incredibly depressed, and she wanted to go. Her body was giving up. And I turned around and I said, well, what about a seance? I just wanted to see if there was something that could perk her up. And she just came back. She was like, oh, great idea. And suddenly her arms were working again and her hands were working again. And she was ordering us around, and we were laying the table and we were doing the do. And then we sat down, and I was just like, oh God, I wonder if this is going to work. And all of a sudden I felt that presence fill the room, and it was Erdar. And I was just like, I know who's here. And sure enough, in he comes. And the first thing he says is, where have you been for all this time? And the second thing he said was, your planet is in peril. And it was the first time, because it was it was 30 years ago since I spoke to him. And it was the first time I'd ever heard a guide come in and say something so just like, whoa, all my hair stood on end. And then he said, but it's not over yet, and there's a chance. And he went on to say, there's been many iterations for Earth, for this planet, and many times you haven't made it, but there's a really strong chance that you will this time. But there's something that I want to say to you that's incredibly important. And he said, don't lose the light. Do not lose the light. Your paradigm is very sticky. It's sticky, and it's designed to pull you off your path and into fear and into separation and into division and into hopelessness and into, paralysis. Do not let it. Stay with the light. And I did get thoroughly depressed about a month and a half ago with the insanity that's going on in this country, in California, in the United States, with the apparent chaos and with the apparent cruelty and with the apparent, environmental devastation that's going on. He's just opened up the biggest marine sanctuary for commercial fishing. He wants to pretty much, strip the forests. And I fell over. I couldn't get up for a day. I was just like, what's it all for if he's just going to destroy it all? And I woke up the next morning with an image in my head that I'm going to see if this shows. Tell me if you can see this. Vaguely, you can see it.
Yes, we can. Wow.
So, that's as close as I could get with AI trying to do my will. And, but I saw a shattered planet. I saw a shattered planet with light pouring through all the fractures. And there was a voice in my head saying, what are you going to focus on, the fractures or the light? What are you going to focus on, the fractures or the light? And it brought me back. It was just like, vroom. It was just like, oh, Erdar. It was just like, we know the system that's been, running this planet isn't working. We know the economic system is rooted in death of the natural world. We know that how it is, we are not shifting fast enough. And I was remembering my spiritual teacher saying, if you're not confused, you're not growing. And I was thinking about how when a fixed structure gives way, there's a mutability that becomes possible that allows that energy that has been fixed to move, to flow, to become available for something else. And while we're so afraid of change, change only comes about when something gives way. And so that image, I looked at it and it was just like, yes, humanity is being like spirit. When I talk to spirit, they call Trump the wrecking ball. And they basically say he's here to smash the old systems into pieces so that something new can come through. And I look at that on a micro and a macro level. I look at it in ourselves and at a planetary level, and how what's happening to humans is happening to the planet. And none of us can get away from what's happening. None of us can not be affected by what's happening. And so all of us are being given that opportunity to allow for a shattering, to demolish the fixed structures of our psyches, our ways of thinking, our ways of being, our belief systems, all of it. And so is the planet. So is Gaia. She's accelerating, you know. I think this energy of spring, this energy of Easter, this energy of hope and of newness and of freshness and of rebirth, to me, it's in the light that is emanating from the core of Gaia. It's emanating from the cosmos, but it's emanating from deep inside ourselves and deep inside the planet. And that light, to me, is the currency of love. And the currency of love is the thing that unites all of us, no matter how different we are, no matter how diverse or apparently opposed. The currency of love is what unites us. And so I think what I really wanted to say was, there is a colossal death going on, and there is a colossal rebirth going on. And if we focus on what's fracturing, and if we focus on what's dying, it can take us down. It can be completely demoralizing. But if we can log on to the light, if we can log on to the light that's in that image at the core of the planet and at the core of ourselves, which is our heart light, our soul light, if we can come back to the truth of our own souls and log on to the greater life, then we can hold all that fracturing, all those pieces that are crumbling, both in ourselves and collectively. And we can put our presence and our attention and our awareness into what's being birthed, and to what is strong, and to what is, the new shoots that are actually coming through. And that's what I've been meditating on. I've been meditating every day on that image of the planet with the light coming through, but I've been making it myself. I've been focused on the light inside myself and what that is allowing to be dismantled in me. And then I've been logging that light onto the cosmic light and the planetary light. And I'm able to withstand so far the insanity that's going on, because my new default is sitting in the light rather than the fractures. I used to sit in the fractures, which just drove me to complete burnout. But the sitting in the light is actually allowing me to stay in a frequency where my heart engages and my compassion increases, and I can be a tool for the world that I want to see, which is my offering to everybody. It works. I can prove it. I am here. I'm still alive, and I'm not having a nervous breakdown.
Your message is really, really important on the 7. I love that line that if you're not confused, you're not growing. Because confusion is really uncomfortable. And most of us want to know what's happening. We want to know it's going to be okay. We want to know the story. And learning to make peace with confusion is really important. And I appreciate you sharing your story about, which I think so many of us can relate to, giving to the point of exhaustion, then going through the stages of hopelessness and, oh my God, I planted 27 million trees and 14 million trees get cut down every day. And then kind of coming through your process and emerging with a whole new sense of hope and inspiration. And it actually is a beautiful weaving of the Easter message of resurrection and new life and Earth Day. And I think you're right. I've heard I think it's Elizabeth April calls Trump the great disruptor. So it's variation, but yeah, no doubt, just destroying and smashing and crushing, and then something else will come in to destroy all the stuff that he and Elon Musk try to create, inevitably. And hopefully from that rubble, there'll be enough left for us to create the new paradigm. And I certainly look forward to creating a new paradigm with you, Claire, and all the people that are part of our beautiful global peace tribe.
I just want to say what you were just saying about confusion. I know what I was saying about confusion. We think we've got it all together when we think we know what's going on. We think we've got it all together and we're safe and we're secure and we feel sane when our life makes sense. But there is something extraordinary about letting go of that. There's something extraordinary about no longer, like literally letting go of your sense of who you are, letting go of, I did it because I let go of a public identity with 3 sisters. It was huge. It was a massive death for me, massive. But there was something in terms of a personal social experiment. It was fascinating. Okay, I'm just going to be nobody. I'm just going to be nobody. And letting it all go. But when you let go of what you think you know, you become available for miracles. You become available for the light to pour in. You become available for something else to come in and show you what's true. So there just is something remarkable about stopping trying to hold it all together. Like the system is trying to come apart and we are trying to come apart to the old self that perpetuated the old system. So it really is a death, but it really does hold all the substance for the rebirth. So it is if nothing else, it's a fascinating time to be alive. But I do think it's an extraordinary time to be alive, really, truly.
It is. It is a very extraordinary time to be alive. And I'm glad that I'm alive with you. Because she is in the process of being a nobody, there's not a big website to show you. But if you want to get on her email list, I've put her MailChimp email link into the chat box. Might be a little bit hard for those of you at home to, you can take a snapshot of the URL, and that'll take you to how you can go in and be on her email list, which is a very good choice to do. I'm going to do that right now. There we go. And Claire, thank you so much for your presence in our awakening world, and perfect first person to speak today. Thank you so very, very much.
And if you do sign up for that mailing list, you will get a free meditation called Falling into Gentleness, which is something designed to help your nervous system cope with the situation that we find ourselves in.
Beautiful. That's a very nice thing. So thank you. And
I'll put the link again in the chat.
Okay, great. Claire, thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Scott.
Isn't she special? My God, I love that woman. Well, we've got Bob and Pookie Lee, and they're also people that we love very much. And welcome back, Bob and Pookie Lee. So what do these holy days mean to you?
Well, I think I'm going to speak in this very first session here. We're going to sing a song at the end, but I want to kind of add to what Claire was saying. I'm a deep earth lover too. I've been working with the earth for a long time, working with a lot of elements of the earth, working with water, working with trees. And it's such a powerful thing. Right now, yes, our mother is really receiving a lot of disruption, a lot is happening on her surface. There's a lot that's going on. There's a lot that's happening in the animal kingdom. And I'm with you, Claire. It's that we cannot know everything we cannot know how all of this really turns out, and we have these ideas of what it's supposed to look like and how it's supposed to be. And it doesn't look like any of that. And we can look at what's happening in our world and we can get very distraught with what we're witnessing. But what I've been given this message of, yes, stay in the light. Stay in the light, because that is what Mama needs right now. She needs our light. She needs our love. She needs our prayers, and it's so important that we focus on love and that we do not get caught in the snare of of anger. I see so many beautiful people that I love so much. And yes, there is a righteous anger that we need to carry deep within our soul. And yet we still need to be the ones who are speaking to the light, that are speaking to the love. Because if we're focusing on what's falling, then we're not focusing on what we're creating. And we're all here to create the new world. And if we're focusing on the devastation and our energy is all placed there, then we're not helping to build what is to come afterward. And so for me, it's like I refuse to get locked into the fear of all of that, because when it comes right down to it, I know that there is a higher plan. I know that God's got this. I know that yes, Claire, you're right. This is the time when we can actually do this. But the way that we're going to do it is by focusing on love, focusing on virtue, focusing on peace, focusing on compassion, calling in the healing energies, right? And disrupting the field. We have to disrupt the field with our frequency. And we do that by being loving beings that walk this earth, radiating love everywhere that we go. We disrupt the field. And so the most important thing for us to do right now is to activate love from the deepest core of our being, and to love our life, to love everything, because this is the way that we're going to co-create this new earth that we've all been dreaming of, because it's here right now. We just have to come into alignment with it. And so I totally hear, Claire, everything that you're speaking, and I believe it to be so, and I know that for me, I can easily fall down that slippery slope of just, like, when I really tap into the heart of the mother, I can feel her pain and her suffering. However, we are her children, and we are here to hold her and to uplift her. And that is really what I'm feeling is called, my job is what I'm called to do right now. So one of the things that's coming forward, I've been drumming every morning. Spirits told me to drum, to interrupt the field, to begin to place the frequencies out into the field. I've been asking people to come and to bring their drums and to drum with me in the morning. And I've had people coming with gongs and bowls, and we're all doing this together. We're disrupting the field. We're activating this love energy out into the world. And I was just with these beautiful women. I'm going to share with you what is going on, what's really active in my experience right now. I have had a deep relationship with drums for a long time. I got my first drum in 1998, and I started to learn how to be with the medicine of the drum. And I was at a festival in Hawaii, Manifest, and it's a divine feminine festival. And I was walking through this room, this big, like stage, area, and all of a sudden these women broke out in this drumming and chanting and praying. And it stopped me in my tracks, because I had never ever heard women gather around the drum to pray before. And it moved me in such a way that it activated something within me. So I immediately came home and I felt like, oh my goodness, I need to activate the medicine of the drum into my community more. So I started to call women to the drum, and I started to teach them how to be in divine relationship with the drum, right? Because the drum is a sacred being. It's a sentient. It's not just this tool that we have. This is a living being. This has medicine to pour. I do not own a drum. I am a steward of this drum, of the medicine of this drum. And this drum brings healing. The frequencies and vibrations of this drum bring healing. And so I began to teach women how to be in relationship with the drum, how to honor the drum, how to understand that they are not the ones that are healing, that the medicine of the drum is what's healing, and that they are stewards, that they have just been given the guardianship of this sacred medicine. And so I began to teach women about this, about drumming. And I never really, spirit works in beautiful, magnificent, miraculous ways. And I never knew that I was going to meet the woman who had gathered those women around the drum in Hawaii. But on my second trip back there, I actually met Sewa Valencia. And Sewa is the founder of the Sisters of the One Drum. And she has a non-for-profit organization that operates out of Southern California. And so when I met her, I told her, oh my gosh, you have no idea what you've done for me. You have activated this desire for me to share the medicine of the drum with the women. And I believe that it's time for the women to gather around the drum to pray for Mother Earth, because I know that these frequencies are healing. I know that when we drum to the earth and when we drum to the water and we drum to the trees, we are bringing healing to the land. We are bringing healing to the earth and to all beings everywhere. And so I told her, I said, you have activated something within me. I've started teaching women about the drum medicine, and she invited me to come and to drum with her. So now we have started this beautiful offering, because I think it's so important right now that women come back to the drum. That there was a time when the women were drummers and that we held the sacred medicine of the drum. And now is the time for us to gather around the drum so that we can activate this healing together as women all over the world. And so Sewa Valencia, Susan Stanton, grandmother Susan, who leads Grandmother's Circle of the Earth, and myself, we had come together and we're just listening to spirit. We're asking, what is it that we can bring to this moment? What is it, the offering that can be given? So the beautiful thing is we are going to start an opportunity for women to come and to learn the medicine songs, because that's what we feel really needs to happen first. So we're calling it Heart of the Drum, Voices of the Women. And this is a place where we're going to gather on Zoom. And every month, the first Thursday of the month, we are going to have sacred song keepers from different parts of the world come and gather, from New Zealand, from Japan, from Mexico, from all four corners of the earth, to come and share their medicine songs with us so that we can drum together and we can start to create communities of women that are holding circles where women can drum. So it was just crazy that we were going to be here tonight. We had just talked about all of this Tuesday night on our call. And I was like scurrying really quickly to try to get something together so that we could present this evening, because this is all coming forth right now in this moment. So this afternoon at about 4:00, I created a Facebook event, and you can go there and find it, Heart of the Drum, Voices of the Women. And you can find out more about what we're doing and about Sewa Valencia and about Grandmother Susan. And we're going to have our first sacred song keeper is going to be Sewa, and she's going to offer 4 songs, and we'll record the sessions so that you can learn the songs and share the songs with women in your circles. And so I'm so excited about all of that, because I think that this is a way that we can disrupt the field. This is a way that we can bring the energies of the earth back. This is a way that we can bless our Mother Earth in just deep reverence. And I had this opportunity where I went to Serpent Mound, and I was opening for our beginning of Sunday morning, and usually the men would gather around the drum to open up the ceremony. And I asked for the women to come and sit around the drum. And they came, and they were kind of a little nervous, and they weren't accustomed to being around the drum. And so when they came, they sang, and they prayed with the drum, and the tears began to flow. And it was like they were having this deep remembering of who they are and what their connection is to the Divine Mother. and what their connection is to the earth. And so I feel like this is such a powerful moment for all of us. And I think that it's important that we find the frequencies within ourselves, whether it's our voice or a drum or whatever it is, find those frequencies that we can ignite, activate into the world to bring healing and to bring compassion and to interfere with these frequencies that are causing harm.
Need to play
You know?
a song. We're running out of
Oh,
time.
all right.
Mhm.
So
Do you want him to
That's
play
a-
that clip?
Yeah, which I've got, so I'm on Facebook trying to find your page, so we need to get that link. And which of the clips do you want to show? The women
show
in
the one with the blue. Show the one with Sewa.
this one.
Yes, this is Sewa Valencia right there as she's leading. And yeah, this is powerful.
Well, for some reason, I've got it queued up and it's not playing. Let's try that again. And I had it all queued up. Of course.
What song are we doing?
And I actually practiced it, and you saw, and during our sound check, we
It
played.
did. It played during the sound check.
Jam ones are at work. Yeah.
Will the other one, will that make sense? The other one is working, so let's start with that for right
Okay, these are the women who I gathered around the drum at Serpent Mound, and this was their first time gathering as women on the drums. So it's
Oops.
yes.
We're having a little technical things, and I do
That's all
apologize.
perfect. Yeah. So that was a
There are
powerful
questions
moment.
coming in. People really want to know how they can participate. They wanted to know, is it on Facebook only, or will it be a Zoom gathering?
It will be a Zoom gathering. And so I created the event so you could find out more about it. I was just trying to get something so that people could have an idea of what it is that we're creating. So the Facebook event is Heart of the
Maybe
Drum.
we could find it and put it in the chat one after this.
Heart of the
can find it.
Drum. Here, I'm
It's
coming
search.
into Heart of the Drum.
Heart of the Drum, Voices of the Women. It's an event that I created today.
Here, I'm trying to find
Not-
it.
Not finding it. I'll see if I can get the link for you when we come back again.
Yeah, definitely, because I've gone to your Facebook page, but it's not up on your Facebook page either.
Okay, well, I'll post it on my Facebook page during this little session here, so we'll be able to get access to it. But yes, it's going to be on Zoom, and it will be recorded. So if you do miss one of our events, because we're going to be featuring different grandmothers, you can get the recorded. We can send you the recorded version as well, so that you have that.
Sure, yeah, several people in the chat box have been loving
I knew
what
this
you're
was a
saying.
community. Yep,
Yeah.
I knew that this was the perfect place for me to speak about this. That's why I tried my best to get as much as I could together for you tonight. Thank you so much for your enthusiasm. I'm so excited for this.
Oh, thank you, Pookie Lee.
Thank you.
And you're gonna come back a little bit later on the show, but would you bless us with a song right now?
We sure will. All right, let's Love Lead the Way.
Okay, I need to move this out of the way. All right. Hi, I'm Bob, by the way. And I'm going to speak more in the second segment. All right. And I got some stuff I'm going to share then, but I know Pookie a lot to share there. And we're going to share this song. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. So a song all about one of Pookie's favorite, or her favorite
yeah.
topic. Hang on, let me tilt this down.
Oh, yeah. we go. Put your hands together and let love lead the way. Put your hands together and spread some joy today. Put your hands together and make your body move. Put your hands together and feel your spirit groove. Have faith, you can make a difference. Have faith in everything that you do. Have faith in your dreams and visions. Have faith, they will all come true. Have faith, we can heal the world with love. Have faith, our hearts will lead the way. Have faith, we will sing the song out loud. Have faith, and this is what we'll say. Come on, put your hands together and let love lead the way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Put your hands together and spread some joy today.
Put your hands together.
Put your hands together and make your body move. You know you want to put your hands together and feel your spirit groove. Have faith.
You can make a difference
Have faith.
in everything that you do.
Have
In
faith.
your dreams and visions,
Have
they
faith.
will all come true.
Have faith.
We can heal the world with love.
Have faith.
Our hearts will lead the way.
Have
We'll
faith.
sing this song out loud.
Have faith.
This is what we'll say. Yeah.
Put your hands together and let love lead the way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Put your hands together and spread some joy today.
Put your hands together.
Put your hands together and make your body move. You know you want to put your hands together and feel your spirit groove. Have faith. Oh, you just gotta have a little faith.
Have faith.
You gotta have faith in yourself, in each
Have
other.
faith.
You have to have faith that love is the answer.
Have
You have to have
faith.
faith that we're gonna get through this no matter how hard it
Have
gets.
faith.
We're gonna get through this. We're gonna hold on to each other tightly.
Have
We're not
faith.
gonna let anybody go because you know what?
Have
We know
faith.
love is the answer, and we know that
Have
love
faith.
wins. Put your hands together and let love lead the way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Put your hands together and spread some joy today.
Put your hands
Put
together.
your hands together and make your body move. Oh, it feels good. Put your hands together and feel your spirit groove. Have faith. Yeah, you just gotta have a little faith.
Oh, you guys are fantastic. Let's go to gallery view and give them a big twinkle. And they are going to be back. Pookie Lee, please find that URL for the Facebook event page. Pop it in the chat box for us. And people, you can get, they are very prolific. They've created so much music. And you can find it by going to soulmassage.bandcamp.com. soulmassage.bandcamp.com. And that's where a lot of Bob and Pookie Lee music is massaging our souls. And Pookie Lee, take a look at the chat box. You'll see a lot of people are very excited about what you're creating and doing. A lot of people really appreciated also what you had to say, your vision. When we come back, we'll get to hear a little bit more from Bob as well. So thank you both so much. Wow, who's that little one? Who's that little guy?
Oh, this is Kaeshi. Yeah, he's my little love bug. For some reason today, he really wants to be in the show.
Totally. My dog is in my lap right now.
I
She's
know,
sleeping on my
I
lap
saw
right
her,
now.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. You know, actually, since we're talking about dogs, I want to take a moment. One of our beloved Global Peace Tribers is Dr. Laura. And Dr. Laura's fur family member, Donna, passed away this week. And it's such a big event when we lose one of our pups. And so here is a picture of Donna, and just sending maximum grace to Donna on her journey. And I'm sure her etheric body is right next to you right now, Dr. Laura. Her little astral body is still with you, I'm sure. And just appreciating Donna and the many, many years of love and friendship she provided to Dr. Laura, and sending lots of love to Dr. Laura as well. All right. Maureen Edwardson, you know, I kind of, when I create these shows, I kind of tune in, what's the theme, what's the topic? And Maureen Edwardson just came blasting into my consciousness when I was putting together a show on the holy days. And honestly, I don't logically know why. I mean, I know that she's amazing. I know that she's an incredible person. I know that whenever she's been on the show before, we've really enjoyed her. So there's some magical, wonderful reason that you're with us tonight, Maureen. And I think our audience knows you, but I'll share a little bit for those who you might be new to. She is a pioneer futurist and the originator of inner resonance technologies, the author of Your Magical Evolutionary Code Unleashed, The Science of Inner Resonance, which, by the way, was endorsed by our good friend, Dr. Bruce Lipton. So welcome, Maureen. And I am eager to discover why you're with us tonight, what you have to share about these upcoming and current holy days.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you for everyone to be here to share all of our love this evening. And in Pacific time, we're on the eve of the resurrection. And so that is why you invited me, Scott, because I did an event earlier today on a quantum leap through our personal portal to resurrect ourselves to our greatest potential. So yes, so the energy is definitely aligned. And of course, you know, we have our friend Yeshua here. That's a portrait that was gifted to me by the artist. And I met her in Kauai with the group that I was part of there, spiritual group, The Way of the Heart, which is a family of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary and all the family, which apparently I'm anciently part of. So it's a very significant time for me and for all of the world. And it also signifies a lot of global grief that we want to come into that next level of freedom with. And so I have a gift, you know, to share with everybody, and you know, decreasing all of my blah 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 to give you a gift of an experience. Yes, Ayata, thank you. Yes, I had a miracle of my own last year in Ibiza where I'd had a heart attack, and then it was miraculously healed through love and through healing prayers, and in the ICU with the IRT, inner resonance technologies, combined into a perfect, beautiful, total healing of my heart. I got kicked out of the hospital a week too soon, or no, on their schedule. It was perfectly time for me. So we all have miraculous capacities. So that's what I'd like to facilitate you in activating and catalyzing that part of you that is your miraculous self. And so we're going to invite each of you just to be present with your breath, because we are love. We're breathing in the greater love of universal wholeness. And that love is source energy, whatever name we put on our version of God and that greater good, that God consciousness. And so breathing in and remembering that we are part of and one with that infinite source. We're children of Creator. We are infinite in nature. And so just as we remember this, we get to personally invite whatever we believe is there spiritually for us, and keeping it simple. Just keeping it simple. And now, breathing with awareness of our body. And our bodies are not the dense sluggards that we've been taught, that is the last to get it. We're breathing infinite source energy of spirit into a quantum supercomputer, which is instantly responding and giving us feedback in every second, every microsecond. The body is like a radio that's receiving all the information from the field and knows how to shift and clear, knows what's in our way, knows what our greatest self truly is, and knows how to work with infinite spirit to shift and clear all the muck of the meltdown. We're going to get our power hose out and wash away all that is not the truth of us, so that we can awake, we can awaken, we can resurrect ourselves into an automatic default of being the love that we are. What would love do? What would love say? How is love emanating in a way that is influencing and uplifting the frequency of all around us? And with IRT, it's effortless. And so here's the body, a miracle machine. So we want to wake it up because it got really tired, right, Claire? Got really tired and worn down. And our bodies can burn out because it's receiving all of the unresolved trauma and buildup and resistance and stress in our field. Because as Bruce reminds us, we're all out of our minds because the mind is a field all around the body, receiving all those unresolved issues that have been built up because we've forgotten who we are and forgotten how to access that miraculous nature that we're breathing in and the body is receptive to. So we want to open up full receptivity for our greatest good here right now. So the operative phrase is switch on and wake up, body. It's voice commanded and consciousness runs the physical body. So we have agency. We are in command of our personal universe. Big, big surprise. And so I'm going to count to 3 and invite everybody in your own Zoom room to boldly or quietly, in whatever way is appropriate for you, to say those words. Switch on and wake up, body. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Switch on and wake up, body. Nice, beautiful choir. And so we've plugged into our greater source. We have activated full receptivity of our miraculous quantum supercomputer called the body, our communication device. And now we're at the keyboard. We actually get to choose. So it's really, we can also use the metaphor of Michelangelo, who, when asked, how did he create that magnificent sculpture of David, even though he had done some amazing work, that was just really his crowning glory. And of course, as you all know here, I'm sure, Michelangelo just said, wow, he was already in the marble. All I did was chip away everything that was not David. And so he was automatically revealed with his magnificence of just shining, and that magnificent inspiration and beauty into the world just lifts everybody's frequencies in awe of that even being possible, and having the presence just inspire people to the max, maximum inspiration, maximum grace. And so that's what we're calling on now. Our inner Michelangelo that knows exactly, that holds the vision of the truth of our magnificent selves, and that knows exactly how to chip away everything that's not the truth of us. So now we're allowing all aspects of who we are, all of what's been limiting us, weighing us down, because there's so much happening in the world, and those of us that are more empathic really feel it. And guess what? There's no need to be weighed down by it anymore. Because when we create our highest frequency and let go of our personal resistance and stress and static, then we automatically entrain everyone else up around us. That is the definition of resonance in physics, that the higher, more coherent frequency actually entrains up. So our job is to clear ourselves and be the love. And then automatically, whoop, there we go. And when we clear all the wiggles in here that are in the reactive, depressive state, and just allow that to melt and dissolve away by our Michelangelo, our inner Michelangelo self, then we're just pure love. And then we get to be more untouchable and operate on a default of love. I love that. And so now we're clearing all aspects of how all of the lower frequencies and all our buildup of stress and trauma and pain has been weighing us down, holding us back physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, relationships of every kind, because everything's connected. Right, Scott? Relationships are the key to all, because everything's connected, especially that relationship with us and our greater self and the source of all that is infinite in nature, in our nature. And so we're also choosing to include all levels of memory. And for the sake of time here, we're going to condense those levels of memory. And that would be our whole life, going all the way back, every microsecond of our life, back to when we popped into the world, big smile on our face, most of us. And then all that time we spent in utero, getting imprinted with all of the history of our parents, back to conception, father's input, and then all of the ancestral memory. And then all the soul memory, past, present, concurrent parallel realities, future, all collapse into this precious moment, which is the only reality that we have access to, clearing to presence, the power of now. And beyond that, the collective memory, because we're breathing in holographic particles of the whole history of creation in every breath. Wow, physically, we're one with each other just by breathing. So we get to clear the whole history of the planet simultaneously, because all of that information is in our field at that quantum superconscious level, and it's therefore available with the same frequency, the same chemistry, and it can be all addressed simultaneously. That's why this is a fast track, not a bypass. It's a fast track to clear what is no longer relevant or necessary, so that we can be perfectly present with what is ours to feel and to experience full on, without the filters. And so collective memory, galactic memory, we know there's a lot going on and people waking up to their galactic and intergalactic brotherhood right now. So any history there is also getting addressed. And ultimately into that greater cosmic whole field of love. Everything is love, where we're all part and one with each other. So now we're allowing all of our multidimensional selves to be concurrently, coherently realigned with the next level of your greatest potential self here now, your greatest being of love that solves and melts and dissolves all that is not love. And so allowing that next level of who you are to be automatically freed up to shine and feel healthy and strong, be abundant, be passionately in service by being the light and the love that you are, and being inspired from that place. And so then we get to allow, are you choosing to allow all of this to unfold in the safest and most appropriate ways for you and all concerned at all times? A hint, the answer is yes. Are you choosing greater ease and gentleness beyond the programming and conditioning of struggle? Heck yeah. Are you also opening to effortless grace for instant and permanent shift in that quantum superconscious realm beyond time? Yes. For what's ready at this time? That's an operative phrase. Nothing happens. This is you making agreements with your greater self. And so then we're choosing to allow acceptance and trust in that principle of pronoia, Trust, as Connie and Andrew would say, in the conscious loving universe that always has your back and is actively conspiring in our favor. Isn't that amazing? If we really, really knew that, we could sink more deeply into the trust of allowing everything to unfold in its own time and way. And after this short experience, you'll have a tool to activate that and keep you present and keep you clearing exponentially on a daily basis. Very cool. And so now we're choosing also to allow that part of you that is so open to something different being possible in a different way than what we've ever known as possible. Allow that part of you to be in charge, and allow the part of you that knows, that is ready, pardon me, the part of you that's really ready to be free of the old so that we can claim presence and create the new, individually and especially collectively, the new earth that we're all here to be part of in this great shift of the ages, and keep feeding, our greater frequency, as Connie would say, into the field. What are we feeding the field? So be able to be our maximized, graceful selves, full of love, and be that presence that just neutralizes and lifts up everything and everyone around us. And so, one more question. And are you choosing to allow the part of you that knows how the heck to go do all that, the permission to go play in your field, your higher Michelangelo self and your quantum superconscious self that has that perfect knowing of who you are and knowing what's ready to be shifted and cleared, that no longer needs to hold you back or weigh you down, or it's no longer relevant. No, we know no useful positive purpose. So allowing that part of you to be in charge, to go play in your field. And while that's happening in the background, automatically, beyond your conscious mind, if it happened through your conscious mind, hey, we'd all be enlightened by now, right? A consciously enlightened, living love in 100% purity. So we're allowing that part of us that knows how to do that permission to go and shift and clear and realign, activate us to the next level of our potential, clear the way, our higher Michelangelo self, full reign to play in that great mystery that is the field. And so there's nothing to do at this point. It's effortless grace, everything to allow. So just allowing yourself to be present and breathe, and breathing in and out of your heart. Breathing in and out, because everything's getting cleansed out. It's already done in that place where there is no time. So this takes you very, very quickly, in a very profound and deep way, into that place of freedom, into that place of resurrection, regeneration, and feel it. It happens instantly. And feel that deeper sense of relaxation, which is what I call the chemistry of wholeness, the frequency of freedom to be your greater self, frequency of wholeness on a whole new level. And as you're feeling it, maybe put your hand on your heart. You can add the tongue on the roof of your mouth or anywhere else you want, because we're going to create a switch that you can access and reactivate on a daily basis. For sleeping, when you wake up, anytime you get challenged, you need a boost. So just breathe with awareness of your heart and the touch, and allow yourself to fill your heart with gratitude, with all your blessings. What you appreciates. And so now I'm guiding you through 5 deeper breaths, which is a new program, after which you'll have access with 1 or 500, however many you feel at any particular moment of any particular day. So breathing your first deeper breath in while you touch your heart. And breathing out, just let go. Let your hand just drop. And breathing in, touching again. And breathing out, letting go. 3rd time. Breathing in, touching. Letting go. 4th time. Breathing in and touching. Breathing out, letting go. Last one. 5 is the number of paradigm shifting. That's the number of love, of effortless grace. Breathing in, touching, and breathing out, just relax and allow. Before bedtime, when you wake up, 1 or 5 or however many you feel like, nothing to think about, nothing to do. Everything's embedded in that end result chemical signature of wholeness and that frequency of your greater self that is being revealed exponentially now, every day, every time that you do this. It's a full-scale super duper defrag antiviral program for your entire matrix. How cool is that? So watch for all the positive blessings to drop into your life.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Maureen. I want to read a couple of the comments that have come in for you, towards you. Charlotte writes, "Thank you, Maureen, my dear sister, mentor, and friend. I love you so much." That's from Charlotte LeFranc. Reverend Jeffrey says, "That's a great flow, Maureen." Carol Craig, appreciating how we've all found each other vibrating the same frequencies. Andrew Kaen writes, "I love your work, Maureen. You are so powerful." Pookie Lee and Bob write, "What powerful messages this evening. So grateful for this space." And I like what Carol said when you were talking about Michelangelo. She said, "Chip, chip, hooray."
I love that too. Exactly. And by the way, anytime everything, comes into your life that is a hooray, or you hear a beautiful song by Pookie and Bob, it's just so uplifting, and Omashar, just put your hand on your heart and take a breath, because you're adding in to that positive frequency all the time and building on the strength of what you have access to. And love is limitless and light is, infinite. So it's beautiful. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Maureen. Perfect. And by the way, you can find Maureen at her website, which is her name, Maureen Edwardson, Maureen Edwardson.com. And that's where you learn all about inner resonance technologies.
See that section right there, are revolutionary, evolutionary. I have a tooth and gum regeneration program starting in September. If you click on that, you get to be on the list. And yes, we can regrow teeth, we can regrow organs. That's the next level.
I could use that. So boy, where do we sign up for this?
Just go to the contact form on my website, or click on that link of that portal there.
There we go.
Yeah, there too. Yeah. And also you can click for more information where it said, are you a revolutionary evolutionary or an evolutionary revolutionary? I can't remember which. And that way you can then find out more information and then click on contact to add your name to the list. Yeah.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Maureen, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to riff for a moment on what Maureen shared with us, because tomorrow being Easter Sunday, even if you aren't currently practicing in the Christian tradition, there are going to be billions of people in prayer and holding the space and tuning in to what the resurrection meant to them. It's a powerful global moment that so many people are tuning in. And you don't need to Christian or follow any dogma to just tap into that spirit of resurrection, that spirit of new life. And so much of what Maureen was talking about is really a beautiful way for us to frame that. So let's really use Easter Sunday to allow ourselves to open up and for, like she said, our higher self to chip away at those parts of ourselves that we no longer need, those scratchy sweaters we've been wearing. Let's take off the scratchy sweater. We'll be a little bit more naked. We'll be a little bit more vulnerable, but also we'll be closer to who we truly are and who each and
touch breath will be safe. With our touch breath, we'll be safe. So we do our touch breath before and after all of that, so that we can align and harmonize with everything that's happening as a gift.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Maureen. That's right. So, a lot of wonderful comments still coming in, Maureen. Like Ayada just wrote, Maureen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I just love what you shared. and also how radiant you look. Blessings to you. Scotty Satori is going to take a double. Andrew and Connie write, powerful heart healing resonance. We've healed ourselves and the Trustmobile with IRT. And we're going to be, by the way, learning all about Connie and Andrew's trust frequency next Wednesday night. It's going to be one of the major parts of our show on Wednesday. So speaking of our shows, I want to remind everybody that are watching on Facebook and YouTube, come join us. Come join the Global Peace Tribe. We do a show every Wednesday night and every Saturday night. Absolutely. And then often we do extra shows, like last Sunday, we had a special show with Kristen Hoffman and Swami Beyondananda. And to join us is easy. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com. Globalpeacetribe.com. You can learn all about us, about our upcoming shows. Click register for the new season. That'll take you to our registration page. And join us. And it's easy. You can come in at all sorts of levels. Whoops, that's not supposed to be doing that. So I'm going to have to talk to my webmaster. I'll make sure it gets fixed. So definitely come and join us. And you're important to us, each and every one of you who are listening. And it's a beautiful, beautiful tribe of people that come together. And we want you to be part of that. I also want to remind people that we have a YouTube channel, and there's a lot of always wonderful things happening at the YouTube channel. That's also where you can go to catch previous shows, the playlist like I talked about. And you can take a look. There's Clare Dubois that I was talking about, and a lot of the different things. There's Kaeshi Chai dancing with Kristen Hoffman, which is actually a great segue to what's going to happen next. Kaeshi Chai is with us, and Kaeshi is also somebody, again, when I was tuning into people that really love the earth, I immediately thought of Kaeshi. She's done several dances over the years. She's been with us going all the way back to the Saturday Night Alive for the Global Peace Tribe days, and her love of Mother Earth and the way she infuses her dance into her love of the earth always inspires us. And so, with no further ado, here is our friend Kaeshi Chai. Welcome, Kaeshi.
Hello, hello. It is so uplifting to be here. Thank you so much, Scott, for inviting me. Full disclosure, I have COVID right now, and I found out on Tuesday night that I had it, and Scott reached out Wednesday morning. And I was actually supposed to perform in real life at Union Square in New York City on Thursday, and I was upset that I wasn't going to do that. And then when Scott reached out and said, hey, do you want to be part of something for Gaia, for Earth, my heart just said yes. I get to be part of something, even though I have COVID. So while I'm quarantining and recovering, I'm so grateful to be here. That Scott, you're still running this online show, and yeah, it was such a staple that carried us through the pandemic, and so wonderful to hear from Claire and Maureen. Of course, Pookie and Bob, I met the two of them 2 years ago, and that was fantastic to celebrate their wedding with them. And Kristen Hoffman, you mentioned our dear friend Kristen. She's a living angel. And I will be sharing some movements that can accompany her song Mani Padme Hum. Before we go into that, I just wanted to speak a little bit to what Claire was saying earlier about letting go of an old identity. I find that slowing down with sickness, with COVID, has actually been a huge blessing. I've been receiving so many downloads just the last couple of days because my life is so much simpler. I basically just hang out at home. Like, I don't have to go meet my friends or go out and see the show or be in the show in real life. And so much wisdom is already inside of us. And and Maureen was talking about Michelangelo and David. Last December, quite unexpectedly, I ended up stranded in Vegas. That's another story, but I stayed at Caesar's Palace, and I was hoping to run across David because there is a life-size replica of the statue David at Caesar's Palace. And I just stumbled across this statue. He is so beautiful. And so I was so thrilled to see him in real life. And so when you were talking about stepping into each of our higher Michelangelo, David, I could see him very clearly in my mind. And this idea of effortless grace and realigning and softening and letting go. I've been reading the Tao Te Ching every morning to help ground myself because of everything that's in the news. And verse 43 is about living softly. It's about stepping into the flow of water and noticing how it can be our teacher, how this soft element, this living being, carves through rock, and how it thinks nothing of settling down to the lowest parts of the world and living humbly, because we need more of that. And so much of us were conditioned to try and get bigger and try and get ahead and la la la, and this idea of being humble, like how can you let go of your ego? It seems so counterintuitive. And for me personally, I am moving between identities. I'm shedding it's still part of me, but I'm shedding my belly dancer identity and stepping into more of an environmental dance artist and activist identity. And while I'm moving between one and the other, there's this death, right, that occurs, and there's a grieving process. And to go from being a somebody to almost being a nobody, that feels, it's not something that society, at least in New York City, where the city is really runs on caffeine and runs on being productive and achieving, all of that, like that just seems like the opposite. So, so I was contemplating this verse of living softly, and then Kristen Hoffman texted me. We have a show coming up in May at the Hollow Movement Wave, and then we were just texting about things, and we chatted, and she was telling me how excited she is to discover this New Zealand water researcher called Veda Austin, and how she's been photographing all these incredible pictures of water and receiving messages from autists who are autistic people who can use telepathy to connect with higher consciousness and with each other around the world, and how she's been asking them to look at the images of the water for downloads, for insight, and how they talked about water being love. And Maureen was talking about how breath is love, and we are 70% water, and our planet is 70% water. And so how can we be more like water? How can we be more like love? And I thought we could listen to Kristen Hoffman's Om Mani Padme Hum, which is a beautiful, beautiful song about finding the ocean in yourself. And Om Mani Padme Hum is a sacred mantra in Tibetan Buddhism. Om is the primordial sound of the universe. Mani means the jewel resting in the heart center. And Padme means lotus, which is a powerful symbol about rising above adversity. There's a very popular saying, no mud, no lotus. So you need challenges and difficulty in order to transform into the lotus, to ascend and grow into your inner David, right? To let all of that shed out. And Hom is the union of wisdom and compassion. So this is a really powerful mantra. I'm going to play it, and I encourage you to maybe follow me in some of these movements. If you prefer to sit, you can also do that. So we'll start with some basic hand movements that represent the lotus in Chinese and Indian dance. There's this one here. Beautiful. You can also create 2 individual lotuses by reaching the hands out or crossing them like that. Very nice, Pookie. You've done this one before. So we can create a bud that blossoms into a lotus. Yeah. And you can have individual buds that blossom into the lotus. Yes. Very nice. All right, let's check it out. I think we're ready. You ready? Yes? All right, let's play Kristen's song. And we will reconnect to our bodies, because we're not just minds, we have bodies. And I don't know about you, but sitting down for a while, you know, it's time to move, right? I want to give a shout out to the man wearing the yellow t-shirt, Love Revolution or Love Evolution, whatever. Reverend Jeffrey, is that, or Dr. Dave? I don't know which one's which. Yes, Love Evolution, yes. Thank you for your awesome moves. I've been watching your dance moves and I'm finding it very inspiring. So let's do this. Maybe let's start from the top here. So as you listen to Kristen sing, just let her voice wash over you. Taking a deep breath in and exhaling out. Maybe standing up on your feet and growing your head up to the sky. Maybe letting your arms grow up. And exhale. Imagining you're in the ocean, letting the water gently move you from side to side. Through open window, and letting the arms reach up, flying like a bird through the window. Gently lean side to side. And moving the arms in front. Moving with the current. Deepest peace. In our Remembering to breathe.
Deepest peace found in all infinity. You and me and you and me and you. You and me and you and me. You and me and you. Oh, money, padme hum. 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 Oh, money, padme hum.
The gallery view, let's give just so much. Kaeshi, watching you dance is so exquisite. It's so beautiful. I like what Susan Bloomquist wrote, an exquisite expression of sound and movement, blessing the earth, our Gaia. Roger and Bonnie write, so beautiful. Maureen writes, Kaeshi is a master of movement. Absolutely. And so many people now writing about how beautiful. You'll have to check out all the beautiful comments coming in. And talk about her connection to the earth. I always love this photo. This is her website, and it's her name, Kaeshi, KAESHI.com. And there she is, finding a very good use for those 5 little recyclable bottles. And I know you've done a lot of wonderful work around recycling.
Yeah, actually, the recycled bottles, I made that crown, and it's kind of a crown of thorns. Speaking of resurrection, I am embodying the spirit of the ocean, and the plastic crown of thorns is one that the ocean does not want to wear, with all the plastic pollution in the ocean, but it's part of the ocean as we know it, so that's the inspiration.
It's beautiful. And we did a while back, we did some of your nature stories, which was really very beautiful. And if you go to her website, she's got nature stories, ocean stories, just a lot of really very beautiful things at Kaeshi.com.
Thank you, Scott.
Oh, Kaeshi, I'm so glad you joined us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And of course, you and Kristen are just an amazing combination. Your beautiful dance and movement, and of course, her beautiful voice. It's always just a total highlight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Scott. It's been a pleasure.
We love you.
Love you too.
We love Kaeshi, absolutely. Well, about the only thing that could follow a beautiful Kristen song in Kaeshi dance is our own house musical artist, our beloved Omashar. Hey, brother.
Well, I'm just beside myself tonight with such beauty and profound wisdom that is coming down the pipeline, so to speak. And Kaeshi, that was absolutely astounding. And thank you for doing it whilst you are recovering. And just beautiful. And with Kristen in the background, that's completely awesome. And previous to you, Maureen, you know, you continue to amaze me. I had a beautiful time with Maureen a couple of weeks ago up in Vancouver, and we both had dinner. I'm just going to show this photo. Let's see what happens here. And see that? Can you see that? This is Maureen and I and Hubcast with Michael Krause and Delan and Peter Young. And so we had a beautiful meal up there together. And how do I get out of this? By going here somewhere? Oh, I know. And yeah, that works. Did you see the photo?
Yeah, we did.
Good, good. I'm not so used to doing the screen share. We just had a profound time. You know, I'm going to sing a song that I wasn't going to sing, but I brought it in because of the depth that we're going into. And it's just a breath away. And I'm just going to shut up and sing it because I don't have any words. I'm just in my feeling body at the moment. And I've managed pretty well with the words, but hey, here we go.
Do that. Oh, we're going to do that. We're going to do this. Yes. Listo. When you feel like giving up, when you feel like letting go, living in this ever-changing world, when it seems that all is lost and you don't know where to turn, the future seems so very far away. So just know there really is a plan. The sun will always shine, and with your hand in mine, all heaviness fades away. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day. So when it seems that you're alone and the fears knock at your door, remember I am just a breath away. You are my brightest star, you've just forgotten who you are. Remember there is nothing in the way, and just know there really is a plan. The sun will always shine, and with your hand in mine, all heaviness fades away. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day. Your hand in mine, all heaviness fades away. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day. The love in our hearts will melt the darkest day. The love
Join the gallery view. What a perfect song for what we're talking about tonight. Absolutely perfect song, as always.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Somebody was asking who the dog was in the photo.
Oh, that's Maureen. Do you remember the name of that dog? Dennis, I think.
Well, it was one name of the dog. I don't think it was Dennis, but then he had his official proper name when he sat up at the table.
It was amazing because they actually, the dog is 100% a part of the family. The dog sits at a table on a human chair with his own bowl and with a nice little neckerchief. It was just so cute.
And when he does that, he has the formal version of his name, not his, his family name. So he behaves accordingly. Yes.
I know, right? Anyway, it was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for that experience.
Yeah, thank you very, very much, beloved Omashar. Thanks again, Maureen. All the comments are flying in right now. People appreciating Omashar, as we like to call him. Well, we have a really wonderful guest. Who's next? And it's Mitchell Rabin. He's been on the show before, and every year he puts together a wonderful program. And we're going to learn all about his annual Earth Day event. But before we do that, let me put him on and read a little bit from this amazing man's bio. He's coming to us from New York. And Mitchell is a holistic psychotherapist, acupuncturist, stress management consultant, earth protector, host of the popular podcast A Better World. He's a visionary, a social impact consultant, a teacher, author, and for good measure, he's an interfaith minister. He's been in private practice in New York City, helping people all over the world with their relationships. He's also been very involved in Taoist, Buddhist, yogic practices, Tai Chi, Qigong, and mindfulness meditation for many years. He's the president and CEO of the Institute for Global Education, providing environmental education to those in order to solve the global issues of hunger, poverty, and peace. Mitchell, thank you so much for all that you contribute to our awakening world in so many ways. And welcome, and I'm eager to have you share a little bit about Passover, because we wanted to honor our friends of Jewish tradition. So maybe you can share a little bit about that. And then, of course, we want to learn all about what you're going to be doing for Earth Day.
Sure, absolutely. Scott, thank you so much for having me on again. It's such a deep honor and pleasure at the same time. And I'd love to chat with you all about some of what's coming up. And the thing that's coming up mainly is the completion of Passover. So I'll start with that. Passing over, yes, of course. I was a little Jewish boy from New York originally. And even though I was not raised religiously, a lot of my family has actually gone deep into that space. I haven't. I've been more on, you could say, the mystical side of it all. And that's sort of a little bit of the light I'd like to bring forward here on these last days of Passover. It's funny, when I was in college at Bard, upstate New York, in Annandale-on-Hudson, where Bob Dylan hung out, and if anyone knows Johnny Winter, the albino who played a 12-string guitar, and lots of other, Chevy Chase, a lot of very cool people were there, actually a little before my time. But I found a book on this one floor in the library that nobody else really went to. And it was a book called The Lost Light by a man named Alvin Boyd Kuhn. And it's always made such an impression on me, specifically because of a passage about Passover. And what he was talking about was that Passover was really about our personal liberation and moving from lower to upper Egypt was the image that I retained over all of these years, is really, you could say, moving through the chakras in a Jewish kind of light, if you will, and going from our more animal nature to a higher nature of love and mind and consciousness. And that's really what Passover is really about. Of course, it's about, on the literal level, leaving Egypt and the liberation of the Jews from slavery. But what the real story underneath that, the symbolic, allegorical, esoteric tale is our moving upward into our higher selves. So in really a nutshell, if you will, that's the story that I feel has the greatest resonance for us. Because I don't know if any of you have been to a Passover Seder, but was listening to that very funny Italian comedian the other night. His name kind of escapes me, but he's married to a Jewish woman, and he's talking about how the Jews and the Italians share so much. But when it comes to he went to a Passover Seder with his wife's family, and he said, "Okay, I'm starving. When are we going to eat?" And he said, "Well, they handed me a book." And they said, "Well, we're going to feed you. Don't worry about it. We're going to feed you a lot of Jewish food, but only after 2 hours of reading." He said, "What? You are crazy. I can't do that." He said, "From now on, any Passover Seder I go to, I'm going to insist on Italian food instead of Jewish." Anyway, that's a whole other kind of understanding of the Jewish Passover Seder. And I understand his view completely, having been to many of them, very long and drawn out. And we're always leaving Egypt. So it's interesting to look at the esoteric side nature of the holiday and understand that it really is about a growing up and evolution of our own consciousness, of moving from our deeper animal selves, which, by the way, as Kaeshi said about bodies, this whole night, Scott, I've got to tell you, is so synchronistic, because my day was spent teaching at an interfaith seminary that I teach to, and I'm on the advisory board for 20 some odd years. And they always ask me to talk about the Tao. So I spent the day talking about how the Tao is really symbolic of water, that's the way, that's the element that is central to Chinese cosmology, number one. And the Tao is intrinsic and sort of the heartbeat, if you will, of Chinese cosmology. So I was talking about water and how water represents the Tao, which is really another expression of ourselves. And it's so funny, just Kaeshi, we have some kind of psychic connection, because so many of the things she was saying were what I was just sharing this afternoon with this wonderful, wonderful group of all faith, interfaith students. So all of this is part and parcel, by the way. And I'm now segue into our Earth Day celebration, because it's really of a piece. It's not really separate. It may appear that way, but I think the fact that the springtime is the time of rebirth for all religious and sacred teachings, wisdom teachings around the planet. And it coincides also with Earth Day, that we're giving another birth, another chance for us to love Earth instead of being the extracting, destroying creatures that we have been collectively. Now, not the people here, not us directly, but other aspects of our brothers and sisters have been very, very antagonistic to the magnificence that the indigenous people embody. And one of the greatest characteristics that they have taught us over and again and continue to represent is their relationship to Mother Earth and Father Sky. So the other thing, and the other kind of overlap with Kaeshi and Kristen, is the Om Mani Padme Hum chant is something I did in my Tibetan Buddhist days, every single day, many times a day, and riding my bike around New York City. That was the mantra I was always speaking. And the movement that Kaeshi was doing is very reminiscent of the Qigong practice that I teach called the marriage of heaven and earth, which, even though that is Chinese in origin, is very reminiscent of the wisdom of our indigenous brothers and sisters that are always speaking about that relationship of remembering the sky while our feet are on the earth, and loving and stewarding our magnificent planet from which we come. And I always say in my work as a psychotherapist, it was really a form of eco-psychology for the most part. Although I didn't find people were really quite tuned into that level, but I always said that your local mother from whose loins you came is vitally important. You could say that's the Freud Jung level, but I was going for something larger, which was our Earth Mother, without whom no, not our mothers, would even exist. So it's a micro-macro relationship, sort of like Claire was talking about that a little bit before, and I totally resonated with that magnificent way of framing, because it's true. It's a simultaneity. It's not one or, it's both and. And the Earth Day events that I have hosted for many years, many of which were with Andrew. I was usually the host and co-producer of those. Yes, this is an example. This is who we are having this year. The through line for me has always been the indigenous wisdom, for which reason a beautiful shamanic teacher named Itzhak Beery, an old friend of mine, is going to be opening it up with a blessing. So that's how we enter. And then we will be closing with Mindahi Bastida, who is a beautiful Toltec shaman from Mexico, who's doing a huge amount of beautiful work across the planet. And it's a way of my honoring my teachers, who I feel are in my own blood and heart, and are reminding us always of what our relationship to Earth should be. And I am also reminded through their wisdom of the, it's going to sound harsh, folks, but it's true, our hubristic perspective that suggests that our white male European American style of consciousness is somehow superior. And one of the conversations in my class today was about how the indigenous teachers from all over the planet, from Australia to the Americas, and the Siberian shamans going back 40,000 years, had their own forms of science and math, and Vedic mathematics is off the chart. If anybody has looked at it, it is as good and beyond our own quantum physics, which, by the way, is quite advanced. But it's really interesting to step out of our anthropocentric and our Western hubris, limited egoic consciousness, into the deeper levels of a wisdom that has been here forever. Like all of you, I'm deeply disturbed by what's going on in our country and in our on our planet in so many respects. I don't have to go into it. But there's my way of freeing myself and liberating myself from it. And that's simply by connecting to the wisdom of the ages that was here before us and will be here after us. And that's the indigenous wisdom. And had we been free enough in mind and heart to listen to what they had to say from the beginning of this country, of virtually every country, we would not, I say, be in the mess we find ourselves in now, having so troubled and disturbed the wisdom of the earth, our beautiful, intelligent ecosystem, we would be, as a whole people, in greater harmony. So my Earth Day is largely about connecting to that spirit. This year, we're specifically looking at water and the theme of water, which, yes, is, as Kaeshi said, is usually described as love. And to promote water and to promote love is one of the most beautiful things I think we can do. As she also said, you know, our bodies are water 70 to 80%, and so is our planet. Is there a mistake? You know there's not. It's all by an incredible design. So who are we having? Well, keynote speaker is Jill Stein, who was the presidential candidate of the Green Party for 3 election cycles, and she's gained more and more notoriety each and every cycle. And she is saying that we need to step out of the duopoly and we need to come into a greater harmony with what we know in our hearts is true. And you will not find that. We will not find that in the Democrats. With all due respect, I am on paper one of them, or the Republicans. They're in playing a money game. That's their game, money and power. The Green Party doesn't play that game. It speaks from the heart. People and planet before profit. And these are kinds of the things she'll be speaking about. I have a gentleman who I was going to bring on tonight, but it wasn't able to work out, a Japanese American, former NASA scientist and physicist who has come up with technology that does what I use in my practice. I use something called the Life System, which is a frequency generator. So I can tune into people's energy fields, read it, and then neutralize whatever's out of balance on the level of organ, of tissue, of bone, and of consciousness. It basically reads the subconscious, and all of that can get balanced out. Jim has figured out a way of increasing the frequency of water to restore it from a level of deadliness or dormancy, why don't I say, to aliveness, and thereby restoring the entire ecosystem of the body of water, be it a lake, a pond, a watershed, a river. It's just awesome. And he and I, you know, he loves the radionic work I'm doing. I love the work he's doing with the same idea in bodies of water. And of course, because we're water, we're actually doing the same thing. It's beautiful. I have another fellow who is a nutritionist and a soil scientist, Ed Hewling, who is worked for the USDA for a while, but they were really not into doing their actual job. They were interested in preserving a future for themselves. So he was the only renegade and was looking at nutrient density in food as it relates to healthy soil. That shouldn't be a stretch in anybody's imagination. And so he's going to talk about how to create healthy soil. And the whole space of regenerative farming is like what I feel is one of our true keys to ending and resolving global hunger, able to generate more food on the same square footage. Global poverty, well, you have more food growing on your farm, you have more to sell at the marketplace. And global war. When people have their own health and well-being, and they have a roof over their head, and they have their family together, and enough food on the table, they're not going to want war. They're going to want to live in harmony and peace. So these are some of the elements. We've also got people actually from the Bay Area, Scott, a group of teens called Meaningful Teens, and I'm friendly with them. I've interviewed them, and they are going to be speaking with youth voices to everybody, because after all, the new upcoming generations are those that we're handing this all over to, and they're going to be there. I have to say in closing, because I probably ran out of time here, is that our beautiful, angelic Kristen Hoffman is going to be singing. And that's really important, as well as another guest of yours, Scott, frequently is Gary Malkin, the Emmy Award winner, who will be performing as well. So that just gives you some taste of what our event is going to be about.
So a reminder, so everybody knows, definitely do this. I'll be there, of course. It's this Monday, April 21st, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 p.m. for us Pacific coasters. And you go to abetterworld.net, abetterworld.net. And I'm going to take you there right now. It's a beautiful website that Mitchell's created, abetterworld.net. And that's where you can learn all about the amazing things that he's doing. His podcasts, his TV shows, his videos, all about what they're doing. It's all at abetterworld.net. And if you go there at that time, I assume you'll be running it directly on your website.
Well, if you go to the website, Scott, under events and click on that, then there is a where it says register.
Okay.
And that will lead you to the Facebook page. It's going to be on Zoom for the speakers and performers, and everyone else will be Facebook Live on A Better World. I'm not sure if it's A Better World Media Facebook page or my own personal Mitchell J. Rabin. One or the other. Or both.
Well,
So,
thank you
all
so much, Mitchell. And we will see you on Monday. We will all be there. All global peace drivers. Come, all ye faithful.
Come hither.
And let's come
celebrate
be with
Easter. Right.
Absolutely. Gary Malkin.
Thank you so much,
Kristen
Scott.
Hoffman, all those. Thank you so much. All right. There's some really wonderful events going on. We're going to hear from Andrew Kaen in a moment. We're going to go to Bob and Pookie in a moment, but I noticed that coming into the chat box, into the Zoom room, is our friend Teresa Collins. And she does amazing things as well. She just had one of her Global Coherence Pulse events earlier today. I know a lot of you were there. And Teresa, welcome to the Awakening World.
Thank you, Scott. It's always nice to be here with this community. Love you guys so much. It looks like my image is a little
fuzzy.
Little fuzzy. I don't know. Maybe it's
we're getting a little fuzzy, Teresa.
Maybe a little lighting, but I did want to share two things. Thanks for that, Scott. One was we did have a Global Coherence Pulse today. We invited our friends Penny Hipple and Joe Brewer from the Design School for Regenerating Earth. And I have to say, after 90 minutes, there wasn't a dry eye in the house between their sharing about their story, Kadi J doing the meditation, and Tatiana doing the music. It was a really powerful event. So I'll put a link in the chat. You can still sign up for the event. And if you do, you'll get the Zoom link. And then for the Earth Day, we are going to be doing a special Earth Day event with Sky, who's a guy who spent 3 years in silence. And the first year he sat in a chair for 23 hours. And then the second year he went walking for 23 hours. And then the last year he did some running. And he's going to be doing a special event where we go to the future. And together we envision the future Earth. And we bring back those visions so we can begin to start to tell the story of Earth's future and begin to walk ourselves forward into that future. So I hope you guys will come and join us for that Earth Day event, and also to just get a little bit of love from what we did today, because it was quite special. Yeah. Thanks for letting me share those, and I'll put some links in the chat.
Great. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Yeah, love you, Scott. Thank you.
Appreciate all the good work you do.
Yeah, love you all.
And we now get to go back to Bob and Pookie Lee.
Nice.
There they are. First of all, Pookie Lee, I'm going to pull up in a moment the Facebook page that you did find.
I did.
And but I want to give Bob some attention. Let's give Bob some
Let's
love.
Give me
do
some
it.
love.
Give Bob some love.
Hey, Scott and company, it's great to see you all. It's great to connect with some friends that we already knew and meet some new folks here. And so thank you again for the invitation. Always a pleasure to join you. I would, before we do our another song here, I would like to talk about an angle of Easter. Of course, the most well-known, I guess, angle or aspect of Easter is the resurrection. I won't talk about the biblical resurrection. It's already been brought up and touched on, but I like the sort of metamorphosis, the analogy to the different chapters in our lives is what I want to talk about here, because I think we as individually here, we have our own sort of rebirth and renewal throughout our lives, and I'm going to highlight how that's like four, I guess, chapters of my life, and how this applies to this topic of resurrection. I think everyone listening will be able to relate to these. You have a similar story, and it's also leading up to a free gift. We'll hold off. I know you have an image, Scott, but hang on, and I'll show that after I tell this little history lesson here. And so I'm just going to briefly kind of tell you like four different eras of my life and how they relate to rebirth and renewal, I guess, and resurrection, if you will. So the first one I'm going to start with is when I was from the time I was like 21 to around 26. I was like a full-time musician. That was like my primary identity, and I wanted to be a rock star, and I played around in bands and rock bands in St. Louis and the St. Louis region here in the Midwest, and that was what I did. That was the way that I served. That's the way I expressed myself through my music and my creativity, and it was a wonderful time. And you can tell, obviously, even though that morphed, I continue to do that to this day. I'm just rocking out in a different way. Right. And so you can have different, so maybe the lesson here is parts of your life can change. That doesn't necessarily mean something that you did before has to die, but it could take maybe a back seat or a different role in your life. So there was that period where I was the musician, and then that kind of morphed from the time I was like 27 to 37. There was a 10-year period where I got this crazy notion to publish a music magazine here in my hometown of St. Louis, and it covered the local music scene. And I was crazy because I had nothing on paper made sense that I should do this, because I never took any journalism classes. I never worked for the school newspaper. I just had this notion that, hey, we need this. We need to shine the light of all the talent here in St. Louis. And so I just started doing it. It was really ugly at first, and I just honed it, and it got better. And I ended up doing that for a full decade, to where I was reaching, like printing, tens of thousands, I mean, like 20,000 copies and distributing it all around. And so I became a journalist of my own making and doing good in my community by just sharing all the amazing talent that was going on in my hometown. Little did I know that era, that experience of publishing, and this is before the internet. This is a print publication that I had to physically distribute to places. But that all prepared me for the next phase, which was becoming an author. It gave me that, since I had the skills of publishing a newspaper, I was able to apply those to self-publishing my own books, and that was an identity. And I guess I rode that wave for a good 20 years, from like 37 to like 57. I've really focused on writing and publishing books and using this. Well, at the time, back in the 90s, there was this new thing called the internet that I saw as an opportunity to spread my message. And many of my books over the years were geared for musicians and creative people, helping them like get on friendly terms with marketing and how to attract fans and how to get their expression out into the world. So I create a ripple effect of good. Teaching them how to market themselves so they reach more people. And I was practicing what I preached the whole time, just using the internet to spread my message, getting more and more books out there. And so then I was reaching people all over the world through my books, through Amazon and all the various sites. And so that was an interesting transition. And then 8 years ago, I thought I was doing pretty well as an author, and little did I know that that era would sort of take the back seat in a new chapter. What I did not see coming is 8 years ago, I published my first affirmation video to my YouTube channel, using my voice, doing positive self-talk statements, and had no idea whether anybody would like it or what would, no plan, but I noticed people seemed to enjoy that one. So I published another one and then another one. And once I saw a trend here, I just went all in on it. And that channel has grown from like 3,000 subscribers back then when I did the first affirmation video, because I'd already been on YouTube for a little while, to now it's like 413,000 subscribers to my YouTube channel, like 73 million downloads. I have a podcast where I take that audio content and repurpose it as an audio podcast. That has had like 6.5 million downloads over the past 5 years. So now I'm just like reaching people in a whole nother way, on a whole nother level, that just boggles my mind, and I just never take it for granted. And this isn't about like vanity. Oh, look at me, I'm reaching a lot of people, I'm an influencer. It's really about like I'm sure. Reason I think, Scott, because we talked about this in our little pre-show meeting yesterday, that everybody here, I think, has a message that they want to get out in the world. There's some kind of difference you want to make. There's some way you want to help people, and the more people that you can get that out to, the better off the planet is. So, but the more reach we're going to have to create this new world, the awakened world that we're talking about. And so the interesting thing is, with these 4 stages, is that each one built upon the previous one. And each time I went into this new chapter, it expanded. So as a musician, I was probably reaching hundreds of people, in the rooms that I was playing in over a couple of months, back then. Once I switched to the local newspaper, and then I was reaching thousands of readers. And the interesting thing then was when I switched to the newspaper, even though it was a physical publication, it was the first time that I could reach people without being physically present in the room. And that was kind of like an aha moment.
Powerful affirmations of all
I hear you're playing something. Okay, yeah, on my YouTube channel. Yeah, I'm hearing my voice as I'm speaking. So that's a weird multi-level thing there. And so I was able to reach people without having to be physically present. And then when I moved to the internet, I was reaching then as an author with my books. Then it was like tens of thousands of people that I was reaching all over the world. And then now with the YouTube channel, again, this is not about vanity metrics. It's just like, it amazes me to this day that now hundreds of thousands of people every month I'm reaching with my affirmations and the podcast and all that. So I'm hope that everyone can relate to this story of each new chapter, even if it's a disruptive chapter, like something happens, you're let go of a job or someone passes away or whatever, that it can lead to bigger and better things. And so I like sharing with people, teaching people how to grow an audience, how to make a difference, how to leave a legacy. And so I do have a free gift related to that. Is this supposed to be a good time to mention that, Scott?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got it all queued up.
All right, cool. Yeah, so there's a free ebook that I have that's called The Impact Formula: 6 Steps to Grow an Audience, Make an Impact, and Leave a Legacy. This is actually a slide from a workshop that I'm going to be doing. But you can go to bobbakerinspiration.com/impact to download that for free. It's a short ebook, but it gives an overview of the 6 steps that I took and that I think you can take too, to reach an audience, to make a difference, and to do good in the world. And if you got your phone, you can use that QR code. It'll take you right to that page. And when you do that, not only will you get the download a couple other gifts too that I won't even mention here, you'll actually get a free subscription to my Abundant Life newsletter, so you get more goodies, and my latest videos and links I'll be sending out by email. But I'm doing a free Zoom workshop this coming Thursday. I think it's the 24th. And if you're on that email list, I'll be sending out where you can register for that. So I'll be doing kind of a more in-depth overview of those 6 steps. And so if this appeals to you, and I have a feeling folks here, if we want to, get that positive message out, it's there for you if you want to check it out. I'll try to pop it in the Zoom, the link too. And
I also want to take people on YouTube, put in Bob Baker affirmations. Bob Baker affirmations. Of course, I've subscribed. And there's really wonderful, wonderful stuff here. And again, all these beautiful videos that he's got, 10 most powerful affirmations of all time. And then some of the things he talked about, how to turbocharge your life, 5 steps to unleashing your purpose, passion, and play.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's another free ebook that you'll get when you go to that page.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really good stuff. I'm going to put this into the chat box also and give people a moment. The QR code works. I just used that and registered using the QR code. So definitely want to encourage people to take advantage of these amazing offers from you, Bob. You're such a generous guy and talented.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
And,
Yeah, very blessed, yeah.
Well, you are. God has blessed you with an amazing partner in Pookie Lee. And so definitely you've got good karma.
Thank you, Scott.
So, yeah, like this is perfect timing. You mentioned at the top, there's a theme song that you've been using for how long now, Scott? Is it the last couple
Since
years?
We started doing the Awakening World, so over 2 years.
Yeah, and it features a collaboration. Actually, Kristen Hoffman did a lot of the beginning of it that leads up to that. When you start hearing "We Come from the Same Source," that's a song that Pookie and I wrote, and I think I've shared this with you before, that it was just, there was a time when we wanted to write a song about that, we are one, we're all together in this, but that term "we are one," I just felt had been kind of overused. So I was thinking, how can we state the same thing, but with using some different phrases? And that's where we came up with the lyrics to this song. And so there you go. Would you like to hear? This is the full version that you don't get to hear usually. So
this is fantastic. Thank you so much.
You bet. Are you anything else you want to say about it? You're just ready to sing it?
I'm ready.
Go for it.
Let's rock and roll.
Now is the time for all nations to rise, united in one vision for all of mankind, standing strong as a force field of love and light, in peace and love and harmony. We will unite. We come from the same source, a powerful love force. We're coming together, stronger than ever, not divided. We come from the same source, a powerful love force. We're coming together, hear the call, you are invited. Yeah, you are invited. Oh, reach out your hand to your fellow man. It's time we come together and take a stand. We are strong when we walk the earth hand in hand, bringing hope and light and unity across the land. We come from the same source, a powerful love force. We're coming together, stronger than ever, not divided. We come from the same source, a powerful love force. We're coming together, hear the call, you are invited. Na 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 na, 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 na 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 na. We are united.
We're not divided.
Yeah, we are united.
We are not divided.
We are united.
We're not divided.
Oh yeah, we are united.
We are
are not divided. We come from the same source, a powerful love force. We're coming together, stronger than ever, not divided. We come from the same source, a powerful love force. We're coming together, here to call you are invited. We come from the same source, a powerful love force.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The crowd goes
Oh,
wild.
isn't it fun to hear that song live from the originators, huh? That is so cool.
Thank you. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to share. It's been a delightful evening.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
And here's that Facebook page, by the way. So for those of you interested in Heart of the Drum, Voices of Women, here is the link. And it's a Facebook event. So you go to Facebook events and put in Heart of the Drum, Voices of the Women. And that's presented by Sisters of the One Drum. And again, I'm going to go one more time to the beautiful gift that Bob is offering us. Use the QR code, you guys and gals. Use the QR code, get your cell phones out right now, and that'll take you right where you can register. And it's really easy. Then once you do that, scroll down, you'll see where you can put in your name and your email address, and you're going to receive the impact formula. You can also download it by going to bobbakerinspiration.com/impact.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Scott. Thank you. I
Thank you,
appreciate that.
Scott.
Oh, my pleasure. I love you guys so much. Thank you so
Love
much.
you too.
Likewise.
All right. Well, there is still another very special event that's going to be happening, which we, definitely want to support. And this is put on by our good friend Andrew. And I'm going to play a little short video. It's a 1-minute video first, and then we're going to hear from Andrew about his World Peace Earth Day celebration. So here we go.
Join us for the 17th Annual World Peace Earth Day celebration, brought to you by Planet Heart and Lakshmi Foundation in association with We the World, our fiscal sponsor. April 22nd, Mother Earth Day, from 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, streaming at facebook.com/The We Campaign. Come celebrate unity, oneness, and above all, peace with a global community of changemakers. Be the first to experience the exclusive sneak peek trailer of Pop Nation, Portal of Peace, and witness the worldwide debut of the anthem, Rulers of the New Earth, online for the first time in Earth Day celebration. A song for the awakening. Let's rise together in harmony with our planet and each other. April 22nd. Don't miss it. Come together for peace.
All right. And the man who's putting it together and has been doing this for 17 years, he has a long history with Mitchell, and they collaborated for a long, long time. And now they're both doing wonderful work. Here he is, our friend Andrew Kaen.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Scott. And Mitchell, it was so great working with you for so many years. It's just, Earth Day is really every day. You know what I mean? This is our precious Mother Earth, and we need to honor her, and we're all one with Mother Earth. I just want to say that back in 1998, 2 years after I was awakened, telepathically from star beings, you probably heard of the telepathy tapes, because I'm on the autistic spectrum. But what's interesting is that in 1998, God spoke to me, and that's where I got Planet Heart from. Planet Heart came from planet Earth. God said, take the last letter of Earth, move it to the beginning of the word Earth, and it spells Planet Heart. One planet, one race, one heart, we're all one, was the slogan that got in 1998. And working with Rick Ovick and We the World, with which Planet Heart is under, I've been doing this because I'm guided to do it. It's like I'm called to infuse world peace and oneness and honoring Mother Gaia, to bring us all together. It's so important for us to come together every day collectively as one. And that's what the indigenous people have been talking about. And this year is very different than all my other Earth Day events since 2012, the year that the Mayan calendar ended. I had only had elders, and it was a 2-day festival. And grandmother Shirley Barkley was there. This year, I was called to contact her, and thank you, Mitchell Rabin, for mentioning the indigenous wisdom, because it's so true, and we all are understanding that. But this year, it's like a sacred fire with grandmother Shirley Barkley, a wisdom keeper, and her powerful circle of wisdom keepers, indigenous sun dancers and earth visionaries. She's been doing sun dances for a long time. Grandmother Shirley Barkley is a Lakota tribe, White Buffalo, Calf Clan, and Black Pipe Clan. And along with her, she has brought Brian Ruffton, who is an artist and community leader, a pipe carrier and sun dancer, Mary Oliver, executive director of the Center for Shamanic Education and Exchange, Matt Brightside Evans, who is a Renaissance man and visionary, Rachel Walker, who is a visionary and barefoot enthusiast. And we have Aimee Noemi Pina, who is a visionary artist and dedicated medicine woman. This is taking place on Mother Earth Day on April 22nd from 5:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And we actually have a pre-show from 4:45 to 5:30 p.m. called the Climate Conversation Pre-Show, and there's going to be youth in that. So I strongly recommend tuning in, starting at 4:45 to about 9:30, and you can go to planetheart.org for more information. And I just want to say that we need to come together. It's time. We're living in these turbulent times that we talk about, but there's so much good. I mean, don't you guys feel goosebumps on this call tonight with so much light and love? It's all about that. And I just want to say also, not just those who I mentioned, but Alan Steinfeld is a special guest on it. We have a closing prayer from Chief Phil Lane, and Christine Marie is actually emceeing, and she actually is the executive producer. This event is pre-recorded; it's not live. She edited the whole thing for me, and I also want to say that thank you very much for everybody who's tuning in, because we're all in this together. We're all on the same boat. We're all on this precious Mother Earth. We need to honor her and continue the work that we're all doing and striving to do. And indigenous peoples are so important, honoring them this year. I was called to do it, and I just one more thing I want to say. Very interesting. This is like a sacred fire. You're going to be with wisdom keepers. They're outside by this beautiful tree, and the trees are surrounded by 5 of the 6 people who I mentioned. Grandmother Shirley Barkley is the keynote speaker, and it's going to be really, really amazing. So please all tune in. Thank you very much, Scott, and we are all one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Thank you for putting that together. As Kaeshi just wrote, the event you put together, Andrew, looks fantastic. And one more time, you can get more information, everybody, by going to planetheart.org, planetheart.org. Andrew works closely with our friend Rick Olfick from the We Campaign. It's all this beautiful intersection of the Unity Earth and what Teresa does with Global Coherence Pulse and the connection field. And we all are interacting and supporting each other in wonderful ways. So let's all make sure that we are there for all these beautiful events that are happening. And again, Andrew's event is taking place on Tuesday, the actual Earth Day. It's free. As he said, come early at 4:45, and the big event begins at 5:30 Eastern time. Eastern time, everybody. So that's for those of us that are West Coast, show up at 1:45, or make sure you're definitely there by 2:30 Pacific time.
Can I just say one more thing? It's facebook.com/the We Campaign. That's where it's happening. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. And all right. Wow, what a beautiful, beautiful evening. And yet there's more. You know, I I've had the good fortune to know Patrick McCollum for a long time. And Patrick has some really fascinating information and history about the perspective for Easter and also Earth Day. It turns out that he was literally the very first tree hugger. And to learn all about that, I did a pre-record with Patrick. He is in New Mexico right now building a house, and he doesn't have very good internet. So we arranged a pre-record when we knew that he would have good internet. So I am going to play this. It's a half an hour long, but it's really fascinating. So and stick around, enjoy Patrick, maybe make some tea, and then we'll come back for an Omashar song. Here we go with Patrick McCollum. So Patrick is coming to us all the way from his extraordinary home out in New Mexico that he's building. He is stopped taking time from pouring concrete and working on building his 12,000 square foot home to be with us. And I'm really grateful because Patrick is a you'll great see a picture spiritual once leader. Patrick starts talking. It turns out that an extraordinary number of we had a weak signal, so you don't get to see me, but once Patrick starts talking, which is gonna be the majority of everything, you'll see him. Indigenous people and people from all over the world look to Patrick for wisdom and guidance. And Patrick, as we approach 3 holy days, Easter, Passover, and Earth Day, I would love to get your ruminations, a little bit of the history that you can share with us. And thank you for being on the Awakening World.
Yeah, well, 2 things. I know you had mentioned you wanted to primarily talk about Easter, and so that's what I'll focus on. But something you may not be aware of is I'm one of the original 20 tree huggers that Earth Day originated from.
Oh,
So
wow.
literally, I'm one of the few living people still that actually were the reason Earth Day started. And
Wow.
so I thought if you'd like, I could tell you really quickly about that.
Yeah, tell us about that right now. Yeah, and then Easter.
And then we'll go into Easter. So, I was what I consider a young kid. I'm 75 now, so, I'm much older, and I don't remember what my age was, but it was a little over 50 years ago. A group of us who were concerned about the environment and various different things heard that there was going to be some clear cutting of some forest area where we were in the region that we were in. And so about 20 of us got together and decided to chain ourselves to trees. And we heard about chaining yourself to it. Nobody had chained herself to a tree before that. Now you hear about it, but I mean, hadn't heard about it. But somebody read in a book that a bunch of Hindu women chained themselves to a tree to protect a sacred tree like hundreds and hundreds of years ago. And so we decided to chain ourselves to trees so that they couldn't cut the trees down with chainsaws. And so the guys came, and confronted us and tried to do things. But something really interesting happened, and that was that a big church group came, a Christian church group, and they were telling us that it was against God to protect nature. So
wow.
Just shows how things have progressed over 50 years. Now everybody thinks everybody's on board about nature and, all the different religions and beliefs. But basically, they were saying that nature and everything in it was given to us by God to utilize any way we wanted. So you couldn't do anything to damage nature or hurt nature. If you want to cut down a tree, it's fine. It's a tree. It has no meaning. It's just something God gave us to use any way we want. And we were taking the perspective that the trees were sacred and part of creation itself, and that, just to go and start clear cutting trees to make money was not a good way to go. So what ended up happening, eventually they cut the chains on us, but we were like hanging onto the trees, and press came and they took pictures of us and they wrote a little story about us and they called us tree huggers. And you may have heard that term. So I'm one of the original tree huggers. And what happened then is that a senator who was looking into an oil spill that had happened in Santa Barbara, I believe, also found out about what we were doing. And he was really feeling like something needed to take place in order to protect, our planet and to think more about it. And so he went to Congress and proposed that they create a day to recognize and honor the earth as a sacred, home for all of us and something that needed to be protected. And they named it Earth Day. So that's kind of the short version of the story. There's all kinds of other stuff in there, but that's what happened.
That is incredible, Patrick. Well, thank you so much for just all the many ways that you have honored and served our country and our awakening world. That's amazing. I will always think of you as a founding tree hugger.
There you go.
That's great.
I'm still a tree hugger. It hasn't really changed. So anyway, you wanted to talk about Easter. So would you like to start with a question, or you want me just to start
Well,
talking about it?
we did a show a long time ago, and you talked about the whole origin of how kind of the Christian church came in and took over all the pagan events. So, whatever you can share
Right.
would be really fascinating.
Okay, so we live in a world, especially in the United States, that's primarily Christian. And that's a good thing. Many of the things that are in our Constitution that protect us and things came from certain Christian values and things. So that's a valuable thing. But we live in a country, as you know, where all religion is recognized and supposed to be treated equally. So I'm not speaking out in a way against Christianity. I'm just clarifying a little bit about how things came to be. So when Christianity first started, it had an issue, and the issue was most of the people who were around them were pagans of different varieties. Usually they believed in like a goddess and a god and things like that, and they saw nature a lot of times as sacred and those kinds of things. And in order for Christians to get pagans to join Christianity and convert, they started to take on the pagan ceremonies and make them Christian. And they did this with all the main ceremonies that the pagans were celebrating. So just a couple, so you can kind of think about them a little bit, is the first one was the winter solstice, which in the pagan traditions at the time was supposed to be the time that God had been killed and was going to come back to earth, kind of, or be born or reborn. And so it was the day to recognize the birth of the divine. That was the winter solstice. Well, when Christ was born, that was on the 21st to 20, well, at the time Christ was born, it was on the 25th of December. And it can range because the stars and things move, or we move at a different relationship to the stars. So in any case, Christmas was put on the winter solstice intentionally to line up with pagan values in order to get them to join the church. And the same thing happened with a number of other sacred ceremonies that took place. But one of the ceremonies that wasn't taken over by Christianity, just existed, and we talk about it all the time, is Easter. So Easter has different origins. There are different aspects from different parts of the world that have come together to become what we call Easter today. But the primary underlying premise of Easter is there was an ancient goddess named Ostara, or Estra, and she was the goddess of resurrection, meaning that she took that which was dead and brought it back to life. And in particular, it was developed through agricultural societies in the pagan traditions. So when they talked about the goddess Ostara or Estra bringing back the dead to life, they were really talking about the grains and the things that grew in the crops that seeded themselves and then came back to life again so that there could be more food. So from the pagan point of view, they weren't talking about people dying and coming back to life and being resurrected. Instead, she was simply the goddess who could resurrect whatever she wanted that was dead and bring it back to life.
Wow.
So one of the things that started to happen in the pagan traditions, since it was considered for them, and this is pre-Christian, understand, for them, this idea of that a seed could come to life and become a plant or something like that was a very sacred idea, and they wanted to replicate it in ritual. So they created a ritual, and there are different varieties of this ritual, but this is the one that was kind of the main one I could talk about. And that is that they found an egg from a chicken. They thought of it as being a seed, like a big giant seed. And you have to also understand that in ancient times, well, today you can go to the grocery store and buy chicken by the ton. You know, in ancient times, an egg or a chicken was a really valuable sacred thing. I mean, people didn't just have eggs and chickens and stuff like that. In fact, it wasn't until Roosevelt was the president of the United States that there became an effort to start making eggs available to people on a regular basis.
Really? I did
So
not know that.
egg was sort of a sacred thing. Yeah, that's true. So just, I mean, you know, you might see movies about the Middle Ages and you see a bunch of chickens flying around and stuff. Well, the reality is, you know, maybe there was 10 chickens and 5,000 people.
Wow.
You know, so it was a very rare thing to have chickens, and eggs were highly prized. Most of the time when there were kings, like in England, for example, the peasants were required to keep their eggs to give to the king, so the king could have it as like a special, you know, sacred thing to eat.
Wow.
So anyway, they considered these eggs to be sacred, and they wanted to do a ritual to recognize this concept of resurrection, of coming from a seed and becoming something, a plant or whatever. So they would take the egg, and they considered it a seed, and that they believed that it represented the world. And then on the outside of the egg, they would draw with charcoal made from willow trees. And the reason they made it from charcoal from the willow trees is the ancient pagans believed that the willow tree was the very first thing to manifest in creation. And so there's all these stories of the willow's roots going into the sacred wells and being in the other world and such. And even to this day, starting thousands and thousands of years, but to this day, many Native Americans still build things like their sweat lodges and stuff out of willows because they were considered to be deeply sacred. And all art, by the way, because of the pagans, always was started with charcoal from the willow tree. So like Leonardo da Vinci, you know, Michelangelo, every famous artist, even today, you go to the art store and you buy a piece of charcoal to use to start drawing, you know, an outline for a painting or something. It's made from willow. So anyway, getting back to it, willow was considered sacred. So they drew symbols. Each person that was in the group drew a symbol that represented themselves or something that they needed to manifest. And they would do like, you know, short version, what today we would call runes. But a rune is something so simple, like when you go to the airport and you see a round circle with a cigarette halfway in the middle of it with some smoke and a line across it, you know that that means no smoking, but it's just a symbol, you know. And so they had symbols of their own, often made them up themselves, and they would draw the symbols. All the people from the community on one single egg would draw their symbols on the outside of the egg. And then together, they would do some kind of a ceremony to call the divine to be present. And then they would take a pot or a bag or something filled with earth, and they would crack the egg into the dirt and mix it all in. And then they would break the shells up from the egg and like stick it all around in the earth. And then they would put a seed in the middle of it. Or sometimes they would put a tree that they considered to be sacred, like a little baby tree, in the middle of it. The idea being that they had started this process of resurrection by breaking the egg. They opened the opportunity for life to prevail. And the yolk of the egg becomes fertilizer, really good fertilizer for the seed or whatever they put in. The shells provide potassium and other really important ingredients, and nitrogen also that you need to really make a plant grow. But also recognize that the egg is all broken into pieces now. So the shell is no longer something you can look at and see individual cells or symbols representing what you or I might need or want. But instead, there were broken pieces of symbols all mixed together for everybody's needs.
Wow.
So the idea was that by taking everybody's needs and kind of scrambling them all together in this process of planting a new tree or a plant or something, would mean that each person who prayed or put energy or worked towards their desire or need coming true would also help manifest all the other people's dreams and needs. So
that's beautiful.
Fast forward to today, you know, we get eggs, we draw stuff on them. Some people, like me, and people in some of the pagan traditions, go through the process of drawing sacred runes or, you know, writing a person's name that we need, you know, something to happen with or whatever, and then go through this beautiful ceremony of cracking the egg. Today, we don't generally do it with a seed. We usually have a seedling already or a little tree or something. Tree is best. And then what we do is we all make a commitment to care for that tree going forward, because the tree represents all of the things that we put on the egg that we wanted to be resurrected or, you know, born basically from the seed. And so that's kind of the gist of how Easter came to be. And then the other part about it is, you know, how they got the rabbits, or another whole story, because Easter Ostara was also considered to be, because of the ability to resurrect the seeds of the grain, it was considered to be a time of fertility.
Mm-hmm.
And the symbol of fertility in ancient times was the rabbit. And mostly because, you know, we even make jokes today, rabbits mate and make babies like really quickly.
Right.
And they make lots. So the rabbit kind of got woven into the story as the representation of fertility at this time. Then understand that the eggs were really sacred and difficult, you know, to come by in, you know, Middle Ages and earlier times than that. And so this concept of taking the egg after it had all the drawings and all the things on it and hiding it, and then someone going to find it. In many of the pagan traditions, they have a sequence in their ceremonies where someone who stands out in the community gets honored in some way. So, for example, on May Day, Beltane, somebody gets to be the May Queen or that kind of thing and gets special recognition. Well, on Easter, Ostara, the person who finds the egg is the person who gets to crack it for everybody in the community. And so it was a big deal to hide the egg and who's going to get to be the one that gets to bring about the needs of the entire community. So you can see today we get eggs. And of course, now we don't just have one egg, we have tons of eggs. And people put their different symbols and things that they think are pretty or art or whatever they want on them. And then they hide them and kids go and find them. And when kids find them, part of it is usually some kind of a reward for them also, kind of like the guy who breaks the egg. They get the eggs, which are good, but then they find a basket that's full of a bunch of candy and stuff like that. And it's so that they made the same journey searching for that sacred egg that our ancestors made.
That is really, really fascinating. Really fascinating. I so appreciate your wisdom and your history of that. It's fascinating. All right, well, while we've got you, last thing, tell us about what you're up to, Patrick, because we know that you went through some very significant health challenges. You've been in our prayers. And what can you share with our Global Peace Tribe?
Well, there's a couple really important things that relate to peace. So they're things that everyone who listens to you, would, I'm sure, have deep interest in. So the first one is that, well, this one is more personal, but it also has to do with that. There is a movie that just first came out about me last week. So there's a movie that's been made about me by a very famous director named Gabe Polsky. And it is literally the story of how I was originally contacted by indigenous elders telling me that I needed to go to the Amazon because I was part of a prophecy that was unfolding. And I thought they were crazy, and I told them I'm not a guy in a prophecy or whatever. But the movie is about what happens, and it's really profound. And Gabe followed me into the jungles and, with different tribes and ceremonies. And so the movie's full of a lot of indigenous wisdom and also what they think is happening to the planet right now and what we need to do about it. So the movie, right now, it's just being shown at small little theaters, different places. It premiered in, gosh, my brain just went away, Sedona. And so it just played in Sedona. And it will go to other, major cities, just like one or two little theaters to kind of get the sense of what people think of it. And then we will move into the bigger theaters and it'll come out. And like most movies today, a movie comes out and it lasts like 10 days and then it goes. After that, we're, of course, hoping and talking to Netflix and Nat Geo and others to see if they would put the movie ongoing on television. So there's a movie about me. That's a good thing for me. But more importantly, the movie outlines the importance of us all taking action to protect Mother Earth and also to listen to the voices of the indigenous people. So that plays a lot on that. So that's one thing happening. The second thing happening is that I started helping to unite indigenous peoples and try to create a circumstance where their voices can be heard about the terrible things that are taking place on our planet. Both the destruction of the actual planet itself and also our destruction of each other. So, I started out with a couple of indigenous elders in the Amazon region and ended up with about 300,000 now.
Wow.
I'm working with, representing there, and then united with my brother, Chief Phil Lane, and a number of other elders together and created a unification meeting coming together as one group. And we united millions and millions of indigenous peoples across the world. And I'm now helping them create a confederation, a global indigenous confederation. So that is something happening in my camp that is a good thing. And then the last thing, which I think is the best of all, is I was contacted by well, back many, many years ago, Mikhail Gorbachev, who was the last leader of the Soviet Union, moved forward in a good way to help work towards getting rid of nuclear weapons and also trying to bring more peace back into the world. And he ended up receiving the Nobel Peace Prize. And he got together with another man, Jim Garrison, and they decided to create an event called State of the World Forum. And their idea was to pick, half a dozen to a dozen of the most knowledgeable, wisdom, influential people in the world and have those people both publicly in like a session where hundreds of people would come, but also televised around the world, would give their particular view on what was going on in the world and what the state of the world was. So it started out with Jim Garrison and Mikhail Gorbachev, and then was joined by Jane Goodall and by Desmond Tutu, and then Thich Nhat Hanh, and very, very famous people joined and spoke to the world. And it continued on for a number of years where it would do it 2 or 3 times a year. And it was broadcast across the entire world on major networks. Well, when the 9/11 happened, it got broken up and it never reinitiated. And then Mikhail Gorbachev died, and some of the other people died, Thich Nhat Hanh and Desmond Tutu. But Jim Garrison and some of the others who originally all put it together reached out to me and said they want to reinitiate the State of the World Forum. And they would like me to be one of the main people involved in that. And I would be one of the people speaking of those wisdom keepers from around the world, sort of thing. And we are currently scheduled to do that at the Capitol in Washington, D.C. this December. And so I have a list, which myself and the others are going through, of people who potentially would like to speak or be in the forum. And it's like a list of people that every single one of them is a major world figure. And we got like 40 of them, and we can only use like 12. So one of my fun jobs, do I, tell somebody like Barack Obama, I'm sorry, we really don't want.
Whoops.
So I'm in the process of helping to decide who's going to be in the forum. But more importantly, I decided to do something out of the norm. So I told them that while I'm helping to organize it all, I think there's a part that they really have missed in the past that should be included. And that is that amongst these amazing individuals giving their views, we need to have a group of indigenous elders sharing their views on the state of the world globally in this. And they've now agreed to do that. So I'm in the process of now also interviewing elders to decide who might be, both able to speak to the state of the world, but more importantly, also be able to do it in a public way, on a stage, on camera, on television, that kind of thing. So I am helping to put together the State of the World Forum. And it's a really big deal.
Wow. Patrick. After that, we kind of moved into just more personal connecting and chit chat. And I'm going to stop the recording. But isn't Patrick amazing? And I hope, I'd love to see what some of you have to say in the chat box. I mean, just to think about the eggs was fascinating. I didn't realize that eggs was such a delicacy in the history. And yes, Andrew and Connie, what he talked about at the very end of bringing visionary Indigenous elders, it's beautiful that that's happening. So, and the willow trees, yes. All right, well, it has been a very beautiful evening. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I do want to, we're going to go to Omashar in just a moment, but I want to let people know about what's happening next week, because we've got a pair of really wonderful shows planned. So I want to make sure you know about it so that you will make plans to be with us. And I'm looking for my posters to show you. We're going to, here we go. On April 23rd, Wednesday night, we're celebrating some of our favorite artists and organizations. And Steve Farrell from Humanities Team is going to be with us. Our wonderful, beloved Connie and Andrew, who have been with us tonight, they've got this beautiful, it's a book, it's a practice called The Trust Frequency. And I think right now, given everything that's going on and how scary and challenging it is for a lot of people, I wanted to review their trust frequency. They've talked about it on the show before, but not for about a year, maybe a year and a half. And I think it's just really important for us to remember the trust frequency. We're going to meet a new friend, Josie Keys, who's a brilliant, beautiful artist. And Hannah Bork is going to come back. Hannah was on a couple of weeks ago. We really enjoyed her music. A lot of you said you really enjoyed her and wanted to hear more. So Hannah's going to come back. And of course, our beloved Omashar will be with us. And that's next Saturday night. Next Wednesday night. And then, speaking of Saturday night, wait till you see who we've got lined up. It's amazing. It's our annual collaboration with Ken Kaufman, the owner of the New Living Expo, to promote his expo. And he is bringing on, all these people are going to be with us live. Danyan Brinkley is going to be back with us. So we all love Danyan. John Gray is going to be with us. I don't know if you all know who Sasha Stone is, but I saw him speak at the Conscious Life Expo and he blew me away with what he's creating in the world. Kelly Sullivan, who's dynamic and brilliant, is going to be with us. I do not know Vincent Ghana or Radley Valentine. They're new to me, so I'm looking forward to meeting them. And to help the medicine go down, we got some amazing music next week. Of course, Omashar will be with us. Astra Fox is coming back because Astra is going to be playing at the New Living Expo. And to close us out, Fanny and Vigari are going to be back. So we're going to get ready. It'll be a long show next Saturday night. No doubt it'll be a 3-hour show again because we've got a lot of amazing people to speak and to sing and play music. So definitely join us next week. And for all of you watching on Facebook, that's why, or on YouTube, that's where you want to join now. Join the Global Peace Tribe right now. Go to globalpeacetribe.com. Join, and that way you can come into the Zoom room and personally interact with some of these remarkable human beings. All right. Thank you, Lynn and Lee, for the applause there. I see a little applause sign. And I'm going to turn it over to close us out with our beloved brother, our house musical artist, our co-pilot, the man who makes all things happen, Mr. Omashar.
Ready? looked into your eyes. You love me a lot. You were the one who helped me change my thoughts. And now I'm singing. Feel the love. Feel the love come tumbling down. And feel the love. And let it turn you around. Turn you around. We're singing. Feel the love. Feel the love come tumbling down. Feel the love. And let it turn you around. Turn you around. You looked into my eyes. You spoke only truth. I found I couldn't live with myself until I opened to you. Open to you. So now I'm doing the right thing. Just doing the right thing. It's the only way I know. It's the only way you know. And I'm not ashamed of myself. I'm just going with the flow. Going with the flow and singing. Feel the love. And feel the love come tumbling down. Feel the love. And let it turn you around. Turn you around. We're singing. Feel the love. And feel the love come tumbling down. Feel the love. And let it turn you around. Turn you around. Now about this new feeling here in my heart, I won't let it leave me. I won't let us part. I've been waiting a long time for you to enter my life, and now I'm with you forever. I'm with you forever. Feel the love. Feel the love come tumbling down. Feel the love. And let it turn you around. Turn you around. We're singing. Feel the love. Feel the love come tumbling down. Feel the love. And let it turn you around. Turn you around. We're singing. Feel the love. Feel the love come tumbling down. Feel the love. And let it turn you around. Turn you around. We're singing. Feel the love. And feel the love come tumbling down. Feel the love. And let it turn you around. Turn you around. Let it turn you around. Turn you around. And let it turn you around. Turn you around. And we can be happy.
Oh, perfect song to conclude a wonderful, wonderful evening. I see hearts flying and so appreciative you're all still with us. Over 3 hours later, look at everybody still with us. Thank you so much, including Pookie Lee and Bob, where it's got to be, they're in Central Time, so it's after 11 o'clock there. So thank you. Do you guys still have your Sunday morning program tomorrow?
Yes, we do.
We do, yeah. We stream live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern, so it'd be 7 a.m. Pacific.
Wow.
On Pookie's YouTube channel.
All right, so that's another thing to check out. That's a good way to start Easter Sunday. What are you going to do for Easter Sunday? Do you got something special planned?
We actually have a similar thing. We're going to blend together Easter, Passover, and Earth Day and talk about, and then we play songs live, and I even tell jokes.
Wow, fantastic. Well, now you've got a couple of things you can pull from tonight's show. The history of Easter eggs, perhaps.
I learned a lot tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it? Oh, thank you both. I love you so much. And thanks for being with us so late.
Thank you.
Beloved Omashar, thank you so much, my co-pilot, my dear friend.
It's
And thank
always
you.
a joy. And tonight, well, they're all, I don't know, each show just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. We went so deep tonight. All of us together, we co-created this amazing thing. So thank you for being the meister of it all, young Scott.
My pleasure. Thank you, young Omashar. And I look forward to seeing all of you on Wednesday night. Have a very happy, beautiful Easter. And let's really embrace the spirit of resurrection, the spirit of new life, the spirit of really ascending into the light. Let's stay hopeful and inspiration and shine our light of love onto each and every one that we encounter. Thank you, everybody. Love you much. And I'll see you on Wednesday night.